Virginia Tech comes rolling in against East Carolina, where the Pirates try to spring an upset for the second straight year.
Pinkney to the air. Open man is Bryant. It's a touchdown for East Carolina. Jamar Bryant. Extra point attempt is blocked. Virginia Tech's going to get 2 points out of it. Beamer ball at it again. And on the doorstep for 6 more. Running play. Evans. Touchdown. Virginia Tech. Pinkney will kick. Touchdown. East Carolina. Bowden gets it blocked, and it's picked up by T.J. Lee. East Carolina takes the lead.
My, how special teams can change a football game.
East Carolina beating Virginia Tech at its own game a year ago, and here come the Pirates hoping to do it again tonight in front of a home-standing crowd, hungry to knock off the rivals from the ACC as Skip Holtz leads his team out of the pirate ship, a flume of smoke leading the purple-clad guys with new logos on the side of the headgear as they try to slay the giant. And here are the signs with Skip Holtz, the head coach, and our my esteemed colleague, Lou Holtz. Who is your daddy? We know who Skip's daddy is. In fact, hey, look, Lou Holtz, Mark, has a place in the Hall of Fame, a statue at Notre Dame here in Greenville. He is merely Skip Holtz's father. Glad to have you with us. Mark May's also here. I'm Reese Davis. You know, guys, it was just 2 games ago that Virginia Tech was concocting some scenarios, and they really weren't too far-fetched, that would take the Hokies into the national championship game. Couple of demoralizing losses later, and now Virginia Tech is trying to save its season. Last Thursday night against North Carolina, Ryan Williams had a costly fumble late and afterwards was inconsolable after the Tar Heels kicked a field goal to win the game. Quan Sturdivant, a fine Tar Heel linebacker in this great scene, comes over and tells Williams to keep his head up. And Lou, if Virginia Tech is going to win this game tonight, it's imperative that Williams do just that.
Well, Virginia Tech has been to 16 straight bowl games, and one of the reasons because of their ability to run the football. And Ryan Williams, they have one of the best in the country. He's 13th in the country, averaging 116 yards a game, 5.7 average, and 10 touchdowns. And in 8 football games, Virginia Tech's only turned the ball over 10 times. Unfortunately, one of them was Ryan Williams' fumble late in the game that caused them to lose to Tar Heel. Tonight, we'll find out how Ryan Williams and Virginia Tech responds.
If you go up against that Hokie defense, Mark, you want to have a veteran quarterback. Patrick Pinkney, been here forever, 6 years, had a great game against them last year.
And for East Carolina, if they want to win this game, Patrick Pinkney has to play a great football game. If he can duplicate the effort he had last year against Virginia Tech tonight, they will probably win the game. He was 19 of 23 with a touchdown and no interceptions. Or even last week against Memphis, where he was very efficient with the football, just 14 of 26, a touchdown and a pick. But if it wasn't there, he didn't force the football. He made smart decisions. He pulled it down and run with the football, and he ran for 2 touchdowns.
Well, Virginia Tech coming into hostile territory tonight. Frank Beamer trying to get the season turned back in the right direction. The Hokie boss standing by with Todd Harris.
All right, thank you, Reese. Coach, coming off a very emotional loss last week to North Carolina, how was your week of preparation?
We had a good week of practice. We got good leadership on our football team, and got to move forward.
This team got you last year. What are the keys to getting the victory tonight?
Well, I think they got a couple of playmakers. You got to control them, 17 and 15, and then us control the ball a little bit. That's going to be important.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Okay.
Reese.
All right, Todd, and leading East Carolina is Skip Holtz in his 5th year as the head coach of the Pirates. 34 and 25 since coming here to Greenville. Pirates are the reigning champions of Conference USA, and they lead Conference USA in the East right now. The weather here in Greenville, it is a beautiful night for football. Temperature just dipping under 50 degrees a little while ago. Very slight wind out of the northwest, and the forecast is for clear skies. Just about ready to kick it off, and East Carolina won the toss, which is no surprise since Virginia Tech has lost the coin flip in every game this season. Now 0 for 9. Clearly need coaching up on calling heads or tails, Lou.
Absolutely. Always call tails. It will turn up tails more often than heads.
So East Carolina deferred. Virginia Tech will receive, and back deep is David Wilson and the nation's leading kickoff return man, number 11, Dyrell Roberts. Opening game of the season, Roberts took one back 98 yards against Alabama. He is averaging nearly 41 yards per return. Matt Dodge, the punter and one of the best in the country, will handle the kickoff duties for East Carolina. Toe meets leather, and we're underway in Greenville. And it will be Roberts from just inside his 10. Little bit of an alley, but he is knocked down at the 25-yard line. Van Eskridge making the tackle. So Virginia Tech comes out. They are led by Tyrod Taylor. He's a 6'1", 216-pound junior from Hampton, Virginia. He is the nation's 12th most efficient passer, throwing for over 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. Also a dual threat guy. The thing that East Carolina is most concerned about is Tyrod Taylor keeping plays alive in the passing game when he gets pressure and scrambling out of the pocket. Ryan Williams, the running back. Taylor going to throw it on the first play, and now he's going to run, and this is what East Carolina feared. Taylor has the first down, and he's across the 40. He'll be knocked down about the 42.
And this is what you get out of Tyrod Taylor. If it's not there, and this is the growth that he's had over last year to this year, if it's not there, he's going to look for the pass first, Coach. Great job of the offensive line of setting the pocket for him, but there's the hole. He pulls it down, sees there's an opportunity to run, and he takes off with it.
When you have 3 defensive linemen on one side and 1 on the other, there opens a big hole.
A 17-yard pickup for Taylor on first down. Williams with his first carry since the fumble, and he's knocked down immediately by Jay Ross. The impact players for the Hokies. First, Ryan Williams. Williams has had a sensational first season, 13th in the country in rushing. His next touchdown will be a Virginia Tech freshman record. You've already seen Dyrell Roberts, not only a dynamic kickoff return guy, big play receiver as well. And on the defensive side of the ball, Cody Grimm, the son of Russ Grimm, is going to lead a linebacking core that has a lot of pressure on it tonight to perform at a higher level. Make some changes in the lineup. Grimm will have to be the leader. On second down, they'll throw it on a screen to Williams, and East Carolina has it snuffed out immediately. Chris Maddox from his outside linebacker position.
Coach, this is a terrific job of smelling out the screen. It was good protection by Virginia Tech, but it was a better job of responding to the screen by East Carolina's defense.
Well, East Carolina ran a twist stunt there, and the tackle was looping out, read it, and diagnosed it, and played it for well.
Third down and 11. Virginia Tech converting just under 40% on third down on the year. Getting heat from the outside, and C.J. Wilson got to Taylor in the backfield and forced the throw early, and the Hokies will have to punt it away.
What a terrific job by C.J. Wilson of using his hands to slap down the offensive lineman's hands right there and go around him to the outside, putting pressure on quarterback Tyrod Taylor.
Had he gone a little higher, he might have deflected the ball and created a fumble.
Wilson was a preseason Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. Sack numbers aren't quite what they were last year. He gets a lot of extra attention, but didn't get a sack that time. They busted up the play for the Pirates. Brent Bowden will punt it away. We got 2 of the best punters in the nation going head-to-head. Bowden averaging over 44 yards per kick. A high driving kick that will send Travis Simmons back to his 10. Good coverage by the Hokies. Simmons will be stopped at the 15-yard line, and that's where East Carolina will have it for the first time tonight. Patrick Pinckney, the 6th-year senior from Fayetteville, North Carolina, comes into this game, really struggled in the early part of the season, so much so that Skip Holtz and the offensive staff contemplated a quarterback change for a while, but Pinckney has picked up his game of late, still has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. And he is regarded as the team leader simply because he's been here longer than the head coach. Pinckney, a talented guy who led the Pirates to victory a year ago. Dominique Lindsay with the first carry of the night. Lindsay has some running room. The flag is going to come down, and this may call back some of the game that Lindsay had on first down. We saw him against Memphis last week put up 139 yards. Certainly a much different defensive animal that the Pirates are dealing with this week, and we're going to have a hold.
In-yard penalty and replay first down.
Dwayne Harris, an all-purpose guy, getting caught for the hold on the outside, but they created a little room. As you see, Harris has his man locked up pretty good there. I think that's Cody Grimm that he drives to the ground.
I thought his hands were inside, Coach.
Well, it was inside, but obviously had some white shirt in there.
Well, first down will be replayed. It'll be 1st and 9. It's a spot foul on holding. Lindsay's going to get it again. Lindsay knocked down after a short gain, still just shy of the 20-yard line. The impact players for the Pirates, Dominique Lindsay is already off to a good start, had a career high last week. He's battled shoulder and ankle injuries. Dwayne Harris, he runs it, catches it, throws it. You'll see him do a little bit of everything, and he'll take the direct snaps and the Wildcat stuff. And C.J. Wilson has announced his presence as well, already putting pressure on Tyrod Taylor in the first quarter. Second down now facing Pinckney and the Pirates. 6 yards to go to pick up the first. They need to get it to the 26. A pistol look, and flags are flying. Virginia Tech defenders are pointing at DJ Scott.
66 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
Cooper Castleberry making the call. It is Scott who flinched.
I always said to the lineman, if we wanted to go when you're ready, we'd let you call the cadence. That's why the quarterback calls the cadence. You go when he tells you.
East Carolina offensive line returns intact from last year. One of only a dozen teams in 1A to return the front five intact. Pinckney going to throw it for the first time tonight. A screen to Lindsay, and that goes absolutely nowhere. Demetrius Taylor, senior from Virginia Beach, was all over it.
Coach, this is not the way you want to start off a game, particularly offensively, to get your rhythm going. You start off with a big run, get a holding penalty, then a false start. It's tough to get your rhythm when you start off with penalty.
It is, but what's impressed me the most, Mark, is the quickness of the linebackers of Virginia Tech. It looks like there's a hole there for East Carolina, and all of a sudden, the linebackers come in and filled exceptionally well, particularly Rivers and Gibson.
Linebacking core has been under some pressure. Wendell Gibson making his first start at linebacker tonight as they're trying to get some more productivity. Pinckney is well protected, and he had an open receiver. It was Alex Taylor. Taylor took a shot from Cam Chancellor. You know, that is a play that we've seen the flag fly a couple of times this year, because when the ball is out of reach, they try to protect a defensive player. Chancellor's a big hitter in the secondary, and he gets away with it. You know, bring up a punting situation for East Carolina.
And that's a play that Patrick Pinckney would like to have back. He had terrific protection by the offensive line. That's a play he's got to complete. He had a receiver open. That should have been a first down, East Carolina.
Matt Dodge, the bodybuilding punter, kick it away for the Pirates, averaging over 45 yards per kick. The freshman Jaron Hosley, back from Virginia Tech. Hosley gets a great block to spring him, and here goes Hosley in the Pirate territory. Still on his feet. He'll be slammed down at about the 30-yard line. See all that weightlifting did Matt Dodge a favor as he slams Hosley to the turf. We have a player shaken up. A 50-yard punt and 33-yard return. The crowd didn't like it. Thought perhaps the hit was in the back. And we'll check on the player for East Carolina. Let's take a look at the hit here, guys.
Ooh. That's why you keep your head on a swivel.
Big time hit delivered to spring Hosley with a fine return. So, Marcus, you look at the hit right there. The shoulder got in front. Clean hit in your estimation?
Yes.
You have to look and say, was it head to head?
We will check on the status. I believe that is Dakota Marshall down for the Pirates. 10:36 to go in the first quarter of Virginia Tech East Carolina score. Back at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium in Greenville, North Carolina. First quarter, Virginia Tech and East Carolina. Medical staff on the field attending to East Carolina player who was injured, and they've been surrounding him since he went down. We believe it is Dakota Marshall, number 23, who took this big hit on the punt return. And there is Marshall. It is indeed him, number 23, going down, and they have Dakota up on the stretcher and take him away to attend to him. He is a junior from Jacksonville, North Carolina. Part of the secondary rotation for Greg Hudson, playing on the special teams when he took the big hit from Virginia Tech. While they attend to Dakota Marshall here in the first quarter, we'll return right after this. Just a couple of moments ago, Dakota Marshall, who was injured on the punt return for East Carolina, going by his teammates, and Dakota appears to have a brace or an air cast on his right leg after taking the big hit. He's encouraging his teammates as he went by, and obviously frustrated to be out of the game. Ryan Williams now with the Hokies, and Williams has a ton of company in the backfield, and he is swarmed under. Linville Joseph messed up the play from the beginning. Chris Maddox coming in to finish it off, and Joseph gets good penetration up front, fellas.
Well, this is very well defended here as he's fighting to go back. A loss of 5 yards. Could have been more, Mark.
A terrific job of hustle by East Carolina's defense of getting up the field to play and making something happen. Saw a lot of purple jerseys in the backfield of Virginia Tech.
Last week against North Carolina, Virginia Tech struggled in plus territory in the first quarter. Taylor getting pressure from C.J. Wilson, but gets away. Now Taylor can't get away, and he tries to get rid of it in time, and he's knocked down by Scotty Robinson, and both defensive ends are causing problems for the Hokies.
And what a terrific job by defensive end C.J. Wilson of getting up the field, beating the offensive lineman, and putting pressure on quarterback Tyrod Taylor. Of course, not only that, not giving up on the play. Here he is right there. He goes around, comes back under, puts a hand on him, but still the hustle to the play forces Tyrod Taylor to throw the ball away.
And sometimes when you see a hit like was on Dakota Marshall, that inspires your football team. And when you say, now we're in a battle, welcome to the fray.
3 possessions in North Carolina territory last week came up empty in the first quarter for the Hokies. Now looking at 3rd and 15 after the great punt return. Taylor all kinds of time, has Williams open. Williams catches it, but he'll be well short of the first down. Chris Maddox on the coverage. And bring up 4th down at the 24-yard line. It'll be 4th and about 3. Beamer's going to send out the field goal unit. Matt Waldron going to line it up from his 31-yard line. It'll be a 41-yard attempt. This would be his longest of the season. Waldron's hit 10 out of 12. He'll try to get the Hokies on the board first. And he does. Virginia Tech turns the nice punt return into points. 3-0. The Beamer's team with the lead when you come back. Any doubt that Skip Holtz would follow in his father's footsteps and be a football coach? Played for his dad at Notre Dame, coached with him at South Carolina. He was the offensive coordinator and has done a fine job here at East Carolina, winning the conference championship last year.
I'm just glad he didn't follow his father's desire to wear the same apparel. Those check pants, those red and white check pants, those just won't get it done, Coach.
Well, the best thing he's done is create a football environment. You know, they sold the stadium out on season tickets, but when he came and told me one day, Coach, I said, if you told your mom, he said, no. I said, make sure she unarmed when she does it, because she will shoot you.
Virginia Tech, after getting a field goal, about to kick it away. Justin Meyer, the kickoff specialist, driving it back toward Norman Whitley. Running back who hasn't had a lot of time for the Pirates this year. Whitley, solid return out to about the 33-yard line. So East Carolina will have it back again. Defense has played well so far. Offense trying to get it in gear. Reese Davis, Lou Holtz, Mark May here. Todd Harris down on the sideline with us. You know, one of those pictures we saw was from your days at North Carolina State, about an hour and a half away from where we are here in Greenville. And you had a method to helping the kids adapt when you moved into a new job, didn't you?
First thing we did, we had a trampoline we put up in the yard, and that first thing came off the moving van. By the end of the evening, every kid in the neighborhood was in our yard.
Saw you on that trampoline, too. Dominique Lindsay staying on his feet. Lindsay doing a lot of work for a short game. Here is the trampoline. Oh, you don't appear to be getting much vertical on that trampoline.
I won't tell you, I wasn't much of an athlete, but that was just things we did as a family. And you know, coaching is really, you have to make great family time because you don't get a lot of it.
There's Skip Holtz. His family here is settled in Greenville. Wife Jennifer very involved. Pinckney running the option. The pitch to Harris. Harris stays on his feet and picks up a first down for the Pirates. Strong running from the do-everything guy for the Pirates, Dwayne Harris, stopped by Cody Grimm.
That's a terrific job of finishing the play, Coach. Getting a great block by Darryl Freeney on the outside. But this is what determination can do. Run through those tackles, making sure the first one doesn't bring you down.
Well, executed was an option, which East Carolina is going to have to run some in order to move the ball effectively against a very good Virginia Tech defense.
Giovanni Ruffin in at running back for the Pirates. Pinckney. Flag flying. We may have a hole. Pinckney still trying to make something of the play and found Darryl Freeney. Freeney bobbled it going out of bounds. It'll be an incomplete pass, and we'll check on the flag. Barkwell Rivers giving the pressure to Pinckney. Came in that holding area.
Personal foul, tripping by number 31 of the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty, and replay first down.
Well, not a hole, but a trip from the running back Giovanni Ruffin as he tried to take care of his quarterback.
But first and foremost, if you're going to block as a running back, keep your eyes open. You can't do a swan dive like this and miss him and then try to turn around the leg with it.
That was Jason Worlds that...
I got to tell you, Coach, I'm still looking for the trip.
Yeah,
That's when that leg went up in the air.
Oh, that's part of anatomy.
It was the third East Carolina penalty for 30 yards. Yeah, it's a penalty if you swing and miss, I guess. Worlds might have gotten over the top.
It's the intent.
Right. Pinckney's pass intended for Ruffin, and those two can't get together. And East Carolina pretty much has to get it to Raleigh to pick up the first down. Here is Skip Holtz. He took over a program that frankly was in disarray seasons before him. A winning percentage in 2000-2004 of just over 35%. Holtz and his staff, which has been intact for the last 3 years, as Virginia Tech has, one of the few in college football to be that way, turned East Carolina into a winner, reigning champions in Conference USA. Last year, they not only defeated Virginia Tech, also beat West Virginia, and made their mark by beating the big boys. Now Pinckney on second down. Got a man wide open, and he completes it. Alex Taylor on the grab. Knocked out of bounds by Cam Chancellor. Now the third down is much more manageable, guys.
What a terrific job by quarterback Patrick Pinckney. Getting to the outside, keeping his eyes down the field of play, and making a great decision with the football. Picking up huge yards on this play.
20 of them, in fact. 3rd and 5 coming up, Lou.
That was just a great catch, great throw.
We're just into Virginia Tech territory at the 48. Line to gain just outside the 43. Lindsey back to the running back position. Here's Pinckney. Pinckney getting some pressure, so a little turnabout is fair play as Antoine Hopkins was right in Pinckney's grill.
For this offensive line, you don't see this often for them to give up a sack or major pressures. They've only given up 8 sacks on the season, but Virginia Tech listens to the football.
Well, it's very good coverage. Virginia Tech's doing a nice job of mixing up zone and man and creating some problems for the receiver, because the receivers have to read the coverage as well as the quarterback.
Matt Dodge unleashed a 50-yard punt last time, but Jaron Hosley brought it back 33, set up the field goal. Here is Dodge. Can't knock it dead inside the 20 as he had done 14 times this year. Instead, the Hokies will start on their own 20-yard line. Tyrod Taylor, a dual threat, maturing as a passer, trying to get the Hokie offense all cranked up along with Ryan Williams when you come back to Greenville. There's a new place to go for you to get the latest on all of the teams that you care about the most. Fans in Chicago, Boston, and the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Log on for local sports news, radio highlights, and updates. ESPNBoston.com, ESPNChicago.com, and ESPNDallas.com. And coming soon, ESPN Los Angeles and ESPN New York. ESPN Greenville has the homestanding Pirates down to Virginia Tech 3-0. Josh Oglesby in the backfield rather than Ryan Williams. Oglesby getting his first carry of the night, and Oglesby, a nice one, is going to pick up about 5 as we go down to the sideline and Todd Harris.
Well, Reese, during the last change of possession, C.J. Wilson and Scotty Robinson on the defensive side were being preached to containment when it comes specifically to quarterback Tyrod Taylor. The other thing I noticed is a lot of the players down here complain about how it's too warm. Now, I cracked out the Mr. Rogers look, but the guys down here, the players, they're asking for these portable heaters to be shut down. So clearly they are tougher than myself and Mark May.
Mark's already complaining about the temperature. Oglesby's got it again. Needs to get to the 30 to get the first down. I think they're going to mark him just about a yard short.
You know, if they don't want those heaters down there, they can send them up here.
You know, you see Greg Hudson, the defensive coordinator, Tom was talking about containment. Greg told us yesterday that really the game plan, much like as he put it, Little League football, you have a contain in, and that is your job. He does not get outside of you. Hudson a believer in we do what we do, and on third down, Oglesby's got it again, and he's got the first down to about the 33-yard line. Van Eskridge coming in to make the stop.
Very nice job by the offensive line. Virginia Tech has 2 seniors, 2 sophomores and freshmen. The offensive line, Mark, you know well as anybody. That's hard to bring it together when you have such a variance in how long they've been in the program.
And they got some big 300-pounders up there. Plus, when you add in Greg Boone, the tight end, at 285 pounds, that's a pretty good force up front to run the football.
Boone, the former quarterback, takes a direct snap when they go wild turkey, which they haven't done much this year. Taylor to throw. Pretty good protection this time. Tyrod's still dancing around out there and throws it to a well-covered receiver. He's looking for Xavier Boyce, the freshman from Virginia Beach.
As Todd was talking about, Coach, that was a terrific job, Scotty Robinson and C.J. Wilson, of making sure that they kept contained on the outside, that outside arm free, making sure Tyrod Taylor, when he tried to run, couldn't get outside and make a play. He had to step up and throw the football.
But when you have a quarterback 6'1", you not only want to contain him, you'd like your tackles being the passer lane so he can't see as much of the field and find the receivers.
Second down and 10. Boyce in motion. Williams has it. Williams' best run of the night. Brian Williams has a first down up just across the 45-yard line. Eskridge there to make the stop again.
Well, that was a very nice job of Ryan Williams at hitting the hole 100 miles an hour and downhill. He wasn't going to be stopped here. He just hit it straight downhill and made something happen once he got past the line of scrimmage. First down, Virginia Tech.
Probably caught a glimpse of Sharon Johnson. That's Ryan Williams' mother. After Williams' costly fumble against North Carolina last week, we talked to him about how he handled it. He said he didn't socialize much, but spent a lot of time talking to his mom, who really coaches him up. Taylor's pass is complete to Marcus Davis. And it's just Davis's second catch of the year. His first one went for 80 yards and a touchdown. This one a little shorter gain. Levin Neal makes the stop.
And his mom coaches him up that well to run the football, 930 yards coming into this game. Maybe Frank Beamer should put her on staff.
And it's amazing watching a play from the sideline. You know, Oglesby came in and ran. All of a sudden, Williams comes in. He runs like a different back.
Sharon Johnson watching her son, who I could not have been more impressed with the way he handled himself in the days following the disappointment against North Carolina. Taylor again throwing it out quickly to a wide receiver, Xavier Boyce, making the grab. Neal again there to make the stop, but not before the Hokies have picked up another first down.
Well, it's a flaw that East Carolina has in their defense. Memphis ran the same play with a great deal of success. But what they're trying to do, they got to stop the run. They got to stop Williams, and you can't do it if you're going to spread a lot of people out and play with a 3-man line.
First down from just outside the East Carolina 40. Taylor has to get rid of it, and he does in time. It is complete. Jarrett Boykin staying on his feet and driving with Emmanuel Davis draped all over him, and Boykin plenty for a first down.
Boykin runs a terrific route here, but I'm impressed with Tyrod Taylor. The blitz comes from the safety, Van Eskridge. He gets rid of the ball on time, but finishing the play here. This is a terrific job of making sure that he gets the first down, carrying the defender for the first down.
Very nice job by Tyrod Taylor. They had a blitz coming. He had a guy right in his face, knew he was going to get hit, but stood up there and made a nice throw.
On this drive, Taylor's hit 3 of 4 for 27 yards. And the Hokies on the march. Williams has it, looking for a seam and not finding one. Nick Johnson, the senior from Charlotte.
Nick Johnson on the tackle for the Pirates.
There is Nick, who Greg Hudson calls an old school guy. You know, Nick's got here sort of an unusual look. He's got on gloves tonight. He doesn't really like the tape. He doesn't like the gloves. He's not into all the rah-rah motivational stuff. He just wants to go hit somebody.
I used to always wear gloves. You get cuts on your hand at the beginning of the season. They'd never heal until season's end. That's why you wear gloves.
Yeah, but you always wore the same color gloves as the other team's jersey, so they couldn't see you hold.
That's why I never got called.
Loss of 3 on Williams' last carry. Taylor has a wide open receiver. It is Tyrell Robertson. He's inside the 10. First and goal for the Hokies.
When you allow your quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, this type of time, Coach, and the ability to step up in the pocket, and he knows where he wants to go with the football, perfect job of execution by the offense of Virginia Tech.
Well, and when you're backed up down there, you can't give the receivers that much cushion. You have to gamble a little bit. Make the quarterback make a great throw. Tyrod Taylor's done a great job, but he's hadn't had to make a great throw because the receiver's been so wide open.
Cashing in early has been a problem the last few games for the Hokies. Taylor going to keep it. Takes a big shot as he picks up a couple. Jay Ross on the stop. Virginia Tech, including this game so far, the last 2 games plus, only 6 first-half points. No touchdowns in that span. They'd like to change that. Take the early lead by 2 scores against East Carolina.
The only way that could be changed is just to be physical, have the back be your own blocker. There's going to be more defenders than you have blockers. The back has to be physical. You have to be patient on offense.
3 wide receivers on second and goal. Taylor, quarterback draw. Breaks 1 tackle and 3rd and goal from about the 5. Nick Johnson again on the stop.
I know Tyrod Taylor is extremely exclusive as a quarterback, but I think when you've got a Ryan Williams, you give him the football when you're down here because he's bigger, stronger, he's more physical, and do more with the football.
Now the crowd starting to come to life, imploring the Pirates to force a field goal attempt. 13th play of the drive for the Hokies. Taylor into the end zone, batted into the air. Eskridge almost got it on the pick. Great defensive play will bring up 4th and goal and a field goal attempt for Virginia Tech.
Now, you come down there, you got a power football team, you throw the ball on first down, you run the quarterback on second, you throw it on 3rd mark, and like you said, Ryan Williams never touched it.
Well, this is a great job defensively by Van Eskridge going against a big 6'3", 285-pound tight end.
Matt Waldron did a season-long 41-yarder for the first points of the night. This one from 22. And it, too, is perfect, and the Hokies turn the long drive into points, albeit not a touchdown.
If you can say there was a moral victory, that was it, to hold them to 3, because there's still only 1 score from taking the lead.
Well, 6-0, Virginia Tech has the lead. One of the 7 unbeaten teams remaining in college football. Boise State going on the road to Ruston, Louisiana to take on Derek Dooley and the Bulldogs. That's Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. Remember, Hawaii went to Ruston a couple years ago when they had their great regular season run, barely escaped in overtime. We'll see if the Dogs have a little something for Boise State. Sitting there at 8-0, Idaho is going to be a tough game. Much improved team this year are the Vandals. Nevada also, but Idaho, Nevada both on the blue. This, in theory, might be the best opportunity for somebody to knock off Boise State if it's going to happen.
Yeah, the head coach, Chris Peterson, has done a fabulous job, just awesome as the head coach of Boise. Has his team prepared each and every week, no matter who they play.
Boise State, hoping that perhaps 2 of the non-automatic qualifiers will be included in the BCS. Should TCU continue to run the table, but otherwise to make sure, they need to be impressive. Try to garner some respect in the polls. Certainly Oregon's performance has helped them. Virginia Tech kicks off after the field goal. Norman Whitley on the return for the Pirates, and Whitley gets up across the 30-yard line before he's shoved out of bounds. Let's get a little testy out there. That Reedy making the stop. They're hitting one another. These are 2 physical teams.
But what you have to understand, 2 years ago, East Carolina donated $100,000 to the Hokie Spirit Memorial Fund after the disaster they had up there. There's a great rivalry between these 2, but I grant you, they aren't very friendly out on the field.
Certainly one built on respect. That game coming after the tragic shootings on campus in Blacksburg a couple of years ago, and East Carolina played very tough, had an opportunity in that game, cashed in on the opportunity last year in the neutral site game at Charlotte. 2 teams in the midst of an 11-game series, 5 at each place in the neutral game last year. Lindsey back in for the Pirates, and good carry on first down for Dominique Lindsey. He's averaging nearly 6 yards per carry on the season. Stopped again by Cody Grimm, who's been as active as Cody Grimm always is.
But that was a huge hole created by the offensive line. If Cody Grimm doesn't make that tackle, it could be off to the races.
Pickup of 6. Waning seconds of the first quarter. Pinckney looking at 2nd and 4. Lindsey has it again. Lindsey lowering his shoulder and picking up yardage. Dorian Porch on the receiving end. And it'll be a first down for the Pirates.
Coach, I like what I see. Let that big, physical, experienced offensive line get it done up front.
Very well. And the secondary is making a lot of tackles for Virginia Tech.
We'll see if East Carolina will try to get off another play. The quarter, I believe they're now time. Clock has been stopped. No, the quarter does indeed expire. Well, they had a couple of seconds remaining there. They did not. Second quarter coming up. Hokies with a couple of field goals. They're up by 6. Virginia Tech's Matt Waldron has already knocked a couple into the Good Hands field goal net, sponsored by Allstate for the 5th year. Allstate making contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick during a game. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $1.9 million in scholarship money. Second quarter about to get underway. Virginia Tech with those 2 field goals, the only points of the game so far. Hokies with a 6-0 lead over East Carolina, and Pirates, flags flies. They try to put it in play on the fly sweep to Dwayne
Prior to the
Harris.
snap, a false start by number 75 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
That would have been Harris's second touch of the game. He is 16th in the nation in all-purpose yardage, nearly 157 yards per game. And part of the game plan for Todd Fitch and the offensive staff is to find creative, various ways to get the ball to 17.
Well, they ought to find a creative way to stop the penalties. That's 4 for 35 yards, which has killed the offense.
No penalties, 35 yards. Hokies have to have the flag fly on them. Pinckney tries to keep it on his own read. Nikos Brown is there to swarm him on. Todd Harris has an update on the injury we saw earlier in the game, Todd.
Reese, we'll let the folks and family and friends of Dakota Marshall let him know he was taken straight to Pitt County Hospital. It was that serious of an injury. They didn't want to even mess around with the hair. I talked to an athletic official, and he said his ankle was absolutely, in his words, blown up. So that was the word there. I do think he will make a recovery. Our thoughts go out to him, and want to let his family know that that is the situation.
No question, Todd, the junior from Jacksonville, North Carolina. 23 tackles on the season, been an integral part of Greg Hudson's defense as Pinckney goes up top and places it beautifully into Darryl Freeney, and the sophomore makes a great grab in Tech territory. First down, Pirates. Brock Carmichael, Dorian Porch was both on the coverage, and Pinckney put it in there perfectly.
It's a great throw, but I want to tell you, you're going to get coaches fired if you try to do this too often. Right into double coverage.
It's a terrific job by quarterback Patrick Pinckney and wide receiver Darryl Freeney. Darryl Freeney's been hot, on fire. If you go back to last week, had a huge game, 5 receptions for 116 yards against Memphis and a touchdown.
And a 31-yard touchdown toss. Inside the 40, he'll keep it on the ground with Lindsey, and not much happening there. Antoine Hopkins, freshman on the stop for that Hokie front. That Hokie defense, they've set some pretty lofty standards at Virginia Tech for defense. And Bud Foster telling us that this is a good defense, not necessarily a great one. He feels like, he needs some more production from his linebackers. They haven't totally shut down teams the way they have in recent years. Pinckney keeping it free and inside the 35-yard line before he's tripped up by Jason Worrells.
Just a nice execution of the option. This is a triple option. He could have handed it to the tailback. He could keep it, which he did, and he also could have pitched it to the tailback, which we saw him do previously.
Well, Foster's defense perennially in the top 10, and the only D to finish in the top 10 each of the last 5 years. But this year, sitting at 29th. Not that that's awful. It's just that Virginia Tech has established such a lofty standard that when they're not totally stifling everybody, you go, what's wrong with them? That's a tribute to the great job that Foster's done in his tenure. Pinckney throwing, and he's got a man. Another Pirate first down. It is Harris on a touch, and he's wrestling his way out of bounds. Dorian Corch hanging on for dear life to stop Harris from housing it.
This is an outstanding job by the offensive line. Look what they do up front. It's going to be a short drop by the quarterback right here. He's going to get the ball one step and throw the football, chop the defensive lineman down, get those hands down, complete the pass for the first down.
But just show you how athletic Wills is, that he could leap that just like he was running a hurdle.
Harris is a target anywhere on the field. Saw his touchdown numbers so far. It'll be Lindsey looking for room, and he finds another cutback. A flag has flown. Lindsey goes in for the touchdown, but we'll see if it stands.
Holding on the 74 of the offense. A 10-yard penalty and replay first down.
So the touchdown wiped off the board. Holding call on number 74, Terrence Campbell.
And what a terrific job of running with the football. But right here, Terrence Campbell, the ball's going to be cut back. And right here, he's got his arms. You got to have your arms on the inside and keep them there. Right there, he has his arm on the outside of the defender, his right arm.
Coach, I'd like to see that again. That
His right arm, his left arm was perfect. His right arm was on the shoulder pad.
All 5 penalties have been on the East Carolina offense so far. Campbell is an intriguing story. A kid who came back a couple of years ago from a near heart attack. They found the clot prior to it being an actual attack. He continued to recover and has played very well for Holtz's team. Pinckney now trying to come back and throws it to the former quarterback, Rob Cass. Ball is on the ground.
It was taken away from Cass,
and Cody Grimm making the play for the Hokies. And 2 plays, you get a penalty, and then Grimm creates the turnover as Cass is still on the ground. Cody Grimm, a senior from Fairfax, Virginia, and now it makes Campbell feel even worse. Let's take a look at what happened here, guys. Cass taking the short pass. Great strip by Grimm, and he was there to pounce on it as soon as Cass put the ball down, and Cass is still being attended to on the field.
Not only that, terrific leverage by linebacker Cody Grimm. Had his shoulder pads down, his head up, bent the knees, terrific hit on the ball, and was able to strip the ball from the receiver.
Rob Cass, the tight end, still being attended to. We'll check on his condition when we come back to Greenville. The senior tight end who moved from quarterback, fumbled and was injured on the play. There's Cody Grimm, the man who not only stripped the ball away from Cass, but pounced on the loose ball and stopped the East Carolina threat. Virginia Tech has it back. Tyrod Taylor, low pass, bobbled and dropped by Jarrett Boykin. 2nd and 10.
Gary Campbell is defending for the Pirates. 2nd and 10.
Virginia Tech has had a little bit of trouble getting Ryan Williams established up to this point. 4 carries, only 3 yards. He's had a couple of major negative plays.
But it might be because he's so worried about protecting the football. He isn't running with the same abandonment he did prior to the end of the North Carolina game.
Fumble against North Carolina last week was the first for Williams in 162 touches. Williams has it again, huh? And he's running just fine now, breaking tackles and turning on the Jets. Ryan Williams trying to maintain his feet, and he'll stumble and fall just inside the 30.
Now, this is a fabulous job by Ryan Williams of keeping his feet moving. Every young football player out there watching this at the running back position, keep an eye on this running back on this play, because he will continue to keep his feet moving and not be denied getting past the line of scrimmage, fighting through tackles. Look at the feet. They never stop moving. Huge play for Virginia Tech.
Mikhail Brooks missed a tackle. Emmanuel Davis missed a tackle, and Williams ran right through them. 46 yards on the carry, and the Hokies are threatening again. Josh Oglesby giving Williams a rest. Taylor going to throw it out in the flat. Danny Cole's got it. Cole inside the 20 before he's shoved out of bounds. It'll be 1st and 10 for Virginia Tech. Travis Simmons on the stop as we check in with Chris Fowler.
Breeze, thanks. Sports Center right now. It is final. It is official. The last appeal of Oklahoma State receiver Des Bryant rejected by the NCAA. His attorney says it amounts to a death penalty for his college career. Now, what a night for Joe Girardi. The Yankee skipper watches his team clinch Game 6, and then he helps a motorist who had crashed on a highway at 2:30 in the morning. in suburban New York. He called 911 and comforted her until emergency vehicle arrived.
All right, Chris Tyrod Taylor, pump fake, kept it. Taylor stretching, fumbled the football, and trying to grab it was Travis Simmons. Couldn't get a hand on it. Well, I'm not sure. I don't think Taylor crossed the goal line before the ball came.
We'll see a replay.
They call it the touchback.
We'll have to see a replay on this.
Touchback is the call on the field. As Taylor was racing toward the end zone, so East Carolina had a touchdown call back because of penalty, and it appears that Virginia Tech's going to lose a near touchdown due to a turnover. Let's see as Taylor stretches to the goal line. Ball's out.
Ball's out.
Simmons tried to corral it, but in the end, didn't really matter. Same situation for the Pirates either way. So close. Might have hit off a knee as Tyrod made a fine run, but the ball was not riveted to his rib cage. No 3 points of pressure, nose up.
Well, what they did, they faked a quick screen out there. You're going to see, he fakes like we're going to run the quick screen, and then he ducks it up inside.
Van Eskridge coming in late, swooping the arm over the top. And they are taking a look at this. Very important call. It certainly looks clear to me
that is a fumble.
that ball was well out before Taylor reached the plane of the goal line. And he did not appear to be down either.
No, but what a heads-up play by the safety, Van Eskridge. To come across there, be heady enough to put pressure on the ball and knock it out, that's a huge play for the defense.
Huge play for East Carolina's chances, assuming that replay holds this up, too, because, you go down 2 touchdowns, which then would have been a very difficult situation for the Pirates.
But at the same time,
here is the call. Let's check it.
After further review, the play is confirmed as called on the field. Touchback.
Cooper Castleberry crystallizing our thoughts up here eloquently as Taylor has the turnover.
as you see the replay here where he just fakes the screen and it looks like he's come in, but a great effort by East Carolina. Now, if you get down by 2 touchdowns, that's one thing. As long as you're moving the football and not stopping yourself with penalties, you'll remain optimistic.
There's Brian Steinspring, the veteran offensive coordinator for Virginia Tech. Frustrated, his team ran the ball very effectively on the last drive. The turnover did them in. Giovanni Ruffin ended the game, coming off his best performance as a Pirate last week against Memphis. Put up 87 yards to complement the 139 rung up by Dominique Lindsay. Ruffin, a junior college transfer from the Virginia Beach area, had a circuitous path into Greenville, to say the least. By his own admission, he was a self-proclaimed knucklehead in high school. had to go to junior high. Never any legal problem. He said just doing dumb stuff, not really being focused, and been able to put his talent to use here at East Carolina. And again, throwing into coverage is Pinckney. They're going to call it incomplete. Rashad Carmichael was on the coverage against Freeney, who made a nice grab, but couldn't stay in bounds. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Well, even though this play's out of bounds, Coach, has the light come on for wide receiver Daryl Freeney in the last couple of weeks? He's catching everything that's thrown to him.
Now, this is just a great job there. He could have come down in bounds, except the defender did a nice job of riding him out of bounds.
Carmichael, an excellent cover cornerback, has 4 interceptions on the year. Took one of them back for a touchdown. And Virginia Tech, again, having first-half problems, just as they did against North Carolina last week. 5 drives inside the 40, yielding no points. Only a couple of field goals this time, and the defense trying to get East Carolina off the field. And Pinckney very nearly got it to Harris, who would have had a ton of running room, but he overshoots it. And it'll bring up 4th down. Cody Grimm then making his presence felt, and Grimm has been everywhere for the Hokie defense tonight.
You have to be impressed with the defense, Bart. They were playing man coverage here, did a great job. Also, when East Carolina tries to run the ball, Virginia Tech fills with their linebackers so well, there's just nowhere for back to run.
Well, Hodge, who has unleashed a couple of doozies. First 2 punts, Hokies come after it, and it's not a typical Dodge punt. He rushed it out of there. I'm not sure if anybody got a hand on it, but he's going to roll dead just inside the 40-yard line. And that is where the Hokies will put it in play. Virginia Tech, a couple of field goals, a 41-yard punt, giving Virginia Tech the ball back.
the Porsche Panamera, Ford Uncompromise, and Windows Phone. To have your say on college football, text 140 to the number 4ESPN. That's 43776.
Well, what do those three have in common? Sandra Bullock, Vince McMahon, and late Hall of Fame North Carolina State basketball coach Kay Yow, all alums here at East Carolina. Back here in Greenville, Virginia Tech with a 6-0 lead over the favored team of Sandra Bullock, who had a bit part in a movie starring Lou Holtz. Recently been released.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech has it back. Tyrod Taylor throwing deep. Well, on the sideline, he was looking for Dyrell Roberts, but like East Carolina on its last possession, they completed the pass, but well out of bounds.
I'm in the trailer of Blindside, and I got to tell you, I'm in
Blindside, the name of the movie
Right.
that you guys are in.
I'm in the trailer longer than I'm in the movie. That tells you the kind of role I had, Mark.
You mean the trailer at the end of the movie or the trailer at the movie
There's
side?
a trailer now that shows you what this movie's all about. I'm in the trailer longer than I'm in the movie.
I thought you were in that, the director's cut stuff didn't quite make the actual film. Taylor keeps it, and the ball's on the ground. East Carolina saying that they have it. Chris Maddox came up with it. Xavier Boyce, the wide receiver, was the pitch man after they rode Ryan Williams, and there's still a discussion. Still waiting a signal from the officials, and I believe they're going to, apparently the ball is out of bounds, not controlled by East Carolina. But Boyce, the wide receiver, looking for the pitch. Pitch was right in his hands. Now the question will be,
The loose ball was touched by an out-of-bounds player. That causes the ball to be out of bounds by rule.
Now the question will be, was Taylor past the line of scrimmage and pitched the ball forward?
I tell you, the guy out of bounds was East Carolina, was a Virginia Tech player, not the East Carolina player.
An official explaining it. It's a 3rd and 3 now.
Take another look.
Boyce is having a seat.
Previous play is under further review.
Going to have another look at it.
This will be interesting because the guy was out of bounds, but it was a Virginia Tech player.
And remember to overturn any call on the field, and every play in college football is reviewed, but you need indisputable video evidence.
This one won't show you. It has to be the angle from the end zone will be the one that will show you what happened.
Boyce looked up to see if he was going to get hit and put it on the ground. In the scramble, Chris Maddox is involved in it. Maybe we can see it from this angle, guys. Boyce put it on the ground, and Maddox swooped in and grabbed it. The question is going to be...
It was a terrific pitch by Tyrod Taylor.
Right on the money.
Right in the hands, right on the numbers.
Let's see if he had control before he went out of bounds, and Boyce was out of bounds when he reached in and touched the ball. Cooper Castleberry, our referee tonight, conferring with the replay official upstairs.
I would hate to be the replay official. We were talking to him before. He said, now, do you watch the same replays I watch?
He appreciated that,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I know the constructive criticism that you gave him about the performance of his job. He enjoyed that,
Well, it wasn't
as I
him.
do every Saturday in the
It's just
studio as
in
well.
general when we're watching games. No special game.
Ruling on the field is that the ball was touched out of bounds. East Carolina came up with a turnover on Virginia Tech's last possession that the Hokies fumbled just as Tyrod Taylor was going toward the end zone. Went out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. And now this time, hope to have recovered a fumble before it went out of bounds. Taking a good long look at it. Make sure they get the call right. An important one here.
So far in the game, when we've had a replay, it's been bang, bang, had a decision just like that. It's taking a little more time on this.
Well, this one's a very difficult one to make.
Yes.
But you have to have indisputable evidence to overturn the call on the field.
You know, one of the things as you talk to supervisors of officials across the country, one thing that they try to impress upon the replay officials is just that standard, Lou. They want the indisputable video evidence. Otherwise, they want to trust the guys who are on the field.
Right.
Saw a couple of situations in the Indiana-Iowa game where some calls went against the Hoosiers that perhaps, especially a touchdown catch, should not have been overturned in the estimation of some of those supervisors.
With the criticism of some of the officials in the SEC the last few weeks in the Big Ten, most of the officials want to get it right. So if they take a little more time to get it right, get it right.
And I do believe the criticism of officiating is completely unjust. The officials do an excellent job. I just have so much respect for them.
This from a guy that put one in a headlock?
That was, I tried to get his attention. I just tried to get his attention.
Here comes the call from Cooper Castleberry down the field. What do you think, Mark? You're pointing East Carolina's way. Let's see what... I sold you out. Told them what you were doing with your nonverbals. I just want to make sure that they have this straight. The two most interested parties, other than us, would be Frank Beamer and Skip Holtz.
They're making sure
After further review, the player threw an incomplete forward pass. It's third down.
So it appeared that the pitch was forward, therefore making it incomplete and making all of that scramble moot. Let's have a look at it again. It's looked to be. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Cooper, you better look at that one more time. Whoa, take one more look at that.
That is a way to get out of saying, I'm not sure whether it was a good call or not. Let's go back and just say the play didn't occur.
Well, I will say this. Our director, Mike Schwab, was in my ear immediately and said forward. He thought it was an illegal forward pass. Perhaps Tyrod Taylor was past the line of scrimmage. Boy, look at that. It looked like to be right on the plane to me.
As I say, the officials are often right.
What happened? I thought you weren't supposed to disagree with them because they did a great job.
They did. But I'm up here. I'm all for the officials. But I want to tell you, you're down on the sideline. You can't see anything except the two ends come together, and you feel you're getting shafted all the time. I always say, you should only get half the fee because you're only watching one team for penalties. You look at here, 5 for 49. It's just the paranoid that coaches have. You don't question the integrity of the official. You're just paranoid. Now, then you have to go back and look, was there a lineman downfield?
Well, I think they're also looking to see, just as I referenced earlier, our director Mike Schwab, is he past the line of scrimmage when he makes the pitch? See the black line, it's the line of scrimmage. We'll see where Tyrod is when he lets it. There's no question he's over the line of scrimmage.
He's over the line of scrimmage, and if that's a forward pass, then it has to be a penalty. Well, they said he wasn't over the line.
Wow. But he didn't appear to pitch the ball forward to me, but he did appear to be over the line, which it doesn't matter if it's not forward. So we've straightened it all up. They got the ball spotted properly now on the 40-yard line. It's 3rd and 10. Taylor right down the middle, and he overshoots Jarrett Boykin. And so after all of that, and after all of the review, the Hokies will punt it away.
I tell you, the officials got more airtime than Oprah Winfrey.
But they are not paid as handsomely. Nor do they have quite as many endeavors. Brent Bowden, guitarist who Chris Fowler and the guys last week in Blacksburg told you played Enter Sandman on his guitar for the crowd there. But, you know, coaches of the superstitious sort after Virginia Tech came up short last week, they might not let him do that anymore. Bowden's first punt, 49 yards. He'll kick it away, Travis Simmons. Angling toward the corner. Bounces once, and Tweedy can't quite get to it, and the Pirates will take over on their own 20. Our Applebee's Saturday college football menu, of course, the headline game of the entire weekend is the battle in the SEC between LSU and Alabama.
I think it's going to be a terrific game. I think when you look at Mark Ingram, the way that he's been running the ball this season, over 1,000 yards rushing, 1,004, averaging over 6 yards a carry. He's been carrying the team because quarterback Greg McElroy hasn't been getting it done. The last 3 games, hasn't thrown a touchdown pass.
We have Ohio State and Penn State Saturday afternoon. Big implications in the Big Ten. Renewal of the Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry, and as great as the Big 12 is, that is the one thing that I really miss, is not seeing Oklahoma and Nebraska play every year. East Carolina has it back, 1st and 10. Pinckney going up top, got a man wide open, and he couldn't quite connect with Dwayne Harris.
I tell you, Virginia Tech is so well coached in every phase of the game, Mark. Whether you talk about offensive play, their pass protection is excellent, their running game solid, and their defense is impressive.
Defense is impressive, and when they can stop the run, they're a very good defense. But when you can run the football in this defense, there's been 4 times this season when teams have rushed for 180 yards or more. They've lost 3 of those games and won the other one by 1 point.
Georgia Tech hit him for over 300 yards. Alabama 250. He's a rush defense ranked 79th in the country. So stats have padded up a little bit. Pinckney, a very short completion. There were a lot of white jerseys around. Markwell Rivers, Cody Grimm, there to stop Kevin Gidry, the honor roll student, playing tight end, and bring up third, about 6.5.
Well, as much man coverage as Virginia Tech is playing, you got to hold a tight end and a back end and run more one individual routes and give the guy longer to get open.
Third down, they'll call it 7. Lindsey in the backfield. One split out. 5 receivers all over the place for Pinckney. Hokies showing a little pressure, and here they come. Pinckney gets rid of it, and the Hokies are there after the short completion to Freeney. Davon Morgan making the stop. The pressure being applied by number 47, Nikos Brown.
Well, they just rushed more men than East Carolina has blockers, and they play very, very close man coverage. You're going to see this guy right here come in here free, Mark.
What a terrific job of play calling by defensive coordinator Bud Foster to overload, to get pressure on the quarterback, not allowing Patrick Pinckney the time to go vertical with the football to get the first down.
Matt Dodge averaging over 46 yards per kick tonight. Just about where he is for the season. Jaron Hosley back to return. Hosley signals a fair catch, and he muffs it. Unfortunately for him, it looked as if Jarrett Boykin had the first shot at it. There is a flag. In fact, a couple of them on the field, and the scramble still going on at the bottom of the pile.
Now, if this is a fact that they didn't feel he could fair catch it.
Check in again with the officials. And halfway through the second quarter, we've got a lifetime's worth of conferences so far.
An illegal block in the back by number 7 of the return team. A 10-yard penalty, and it's first down.
The illegal block in the back is the first penalty of the night against Virginia Tech. The Hokies fortunate to come out of this one with the ball. A beautiful look at the moon here in Greenville, North Carolina. Matt Waldron, 2 field goals for Virginia Tech, the only scoring we've had so far. Let's take a look at tonight's Intelligent Move, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
Defensive end C.J. Wilson had a terrific start to this game, getting to quarterback Tyrod Taylor very early and very often. But the intelligent move is, you know what, you either give him help out there blocking, or you call quicker pass plays, those shorter, quick pass routes, get rid of the football in a hurry to have success against the East Carolina defense.
Virginia Tech, the block in the back, survived a muff on the punt and put in play 1st and 10 on their 21. Ryan Williams. Williams has gotten free 1 time tonight for a 46-yard run, but Jay Ross, Nick Johnson, all over the talented redshirt freshman. He got nothing.
Putting that guy in motion, Mark, and faking the sweep, then hand it to Williams, and then having to pass up. Those are 3 different options, and East Carolina's playing Williams well, but they are a little bit vulnerable to the sweep.
They are taking him out of the football game, particularly early on the rundowns, but I think a running back like that needs to touch the ball often in a game to get his rhythm going.
Absolutely.
2nd and 10. Taylor has Cole. Cole will be knocked out of bounds by Emmanuel Davis. It'll be short of the first down. It'll bring up a 3rd down. At about 4.
3rd down and 4.
There's C.J. Wilson coming off the field. He is the leader on that defense for East Carolina. Senior out of Belhaven. You know, his grandmother's been known to give him home remedies for ankles and elbows, different things to put on there. have to consult that as Taylor. Short, quick pass is complete. Jarrett Boykin makes the grab, and the Hokies will move the chain.
One thing I've really been impressed with in this game, Tyrod Taylor throwing the football. He throws a pretty deep ball and does a great job with it, but when he makes his decision to throw the ball short, puts a lot of mustard on it and gets it from point A to point B, and he's very accurate with it.
He's got a very quick release, and he's reading the coverage well. He read the blitz there, knew it would be one-on-one, threw it on time.
You know, that's something I talked to Tyrod about a few days ago, about his maturation as a passer. He says it is mainly based on just what you're talking about, Lou. Better recognition, pre-snap reads, better idea of where he wants to throw before the ball is ever snapped.
He saw the blitz, and he knew right then the receiver was one-on-one.
Here's Taylor running the option. Williams has it and has some running room, and Williams gets it up to close to the 40-yard line. Levin Neal making the stop for the Pirates.
I'm just a great believer in third down defense, because if you aren't successful on third down, everything you did the 2 previous downs is wasted. You have to start all over. Football's a simple game. It's a game of getting 10 yards in 3 downs. That's it.
I'm impressed in getting 8 yards on first down with a run.
Yeah, that helps.
On 2nd and 2, Taylor wants to take a shot. He'll pull it down up across the 40-yard line. Taylor's going to have enough for the first down, stopped by Jeremy Chambliss. A pretty good idea here for Virginia Tech. With 2 yards to go, wanted to take a shot. East Carolina covers it well. Taylor gets what he can.
Well, East Carolina is never going to get any pressure on the passer unless they start getting the defenders on the edge of the blocker. But then, Mark, they're afraid that Taylor will scramble.
Wilson is back into the game. Here is Williams bursting through the middle and into Pirate territory. He gets down to the 40-yard line. Van Eskridge and Chris Maddox making the tackle on another explosive run from Ryan Williams.
But an outstanding job by the interior offensive line of opening up that defense and getting hats on those defensive tackles, allowing Ryan Williams to find the hole and go straight downhill with the football.
And with that run, Williams goes over 1,000 yards on the season. Man down on the field for East Carolina. I've already had a couple of guys hurt tonight. Is Chris Maddox.
He's a senior linebacker. It seems like he has knee problems here, but the linebackers for East Carolina has been the strongest part of their football team this entire season, along with Wilson, the defensive end.
Well, East Carolina already lost Dakota Marshall on defense. Now Maddox goes down. Marshall hurt on a punt play, covering a punt earlier, and was taken to the hospital. And Todd Harris reporting earlier that trainers saying that it appeared his ankle was, quote, blown up. Williams, who his yards have come in chunks tonight, still 74 yards on just 8 carries so far for the talented freshman. Just went over 1,000 yards for the season. 1st and 10. Williams will try it again. Williams hit the backfield, slipped away from Nick Johnson. He was the first guy there. Mikhail Brooks finally got him to the turf. Here is the play with which Williams went over 1,000 yards for the season.
And a nice job of the offensive line, as I mentioned before, of getting those defensive tackles pushed away and getting up to the second level on the linebacker. Coach, that's how you want to run it. You want to run downhill with a lot of force and power.
Just like Mom coached him, too.
Absolutely.
I read where he has 100 pairs of Nike shoes. What do you do with 100 pair of Nike shoes?
As a shoe aficionado, Coach, you wear them.
He apparently runs out of most of them. Go through some wheels. Josh Smith hits him for a short gain. Some help from Steve Spence on the stop. It'll bring up a 3rd down for the Hokies.
Do you realize he could equip a centipede?
I hadn't really thought of it that way.
That's how I look at it. But he's a great football player, and it's great that his mom has so much love and attention with him. As he said, she's his best friend.
You know, Frank Beamer did a great job, too, in handling Ryan Williams in the aftermath of the North Carolina disappointment last week. I told you that Williams spent a lot of time talking to his mother in the days after, but immediately after the locker room, Beamer really brought him in and said, you're going to win a lot more games for us than perhaps we let get away as a team. Taylor firing down the gut of the defense, and he's got Danny Cole on a 3rd down conversion. Nice grab by Cole. Ball a little bit behind him.
Once again, it's third down conversion. Virginia Tech did a nice job of sprinting out to get away from any blitz that might be coming.
For Tyrod Taylor here, rolling to his left and turning and firing the ball, squares his shoulders up. He's a right-handed quarterback, but I just like the way that he delivers the football.
But if you're playing zone defense,
on the option, Williams trying to get the corner, and he dances out of bounds, and East Carolina probably fortunate some yardage not tacked on there. Williams well out of bounds, but he got a little extra left tack. Picks up 6 on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and 4.
They're having a lot of success running the option at East Carolina.
Not only that, I like the longer the game goes on, the better Ryan Williams gets. He's starting to wear him down. He's starting to find his groove out there.
Second drive of the night for the Hokies that has reached double figures in number of plays. This one a 10-play, 61-yard drive, number 11 coming. This is Williams. Williams inside the 15 before he's shoved out of bounds, and he'll have another first down. Van Eskridge making the stop. And Williams appears well on his way to his 6th 100-yard game. It's 88 so far in the first half.
Well, any time that Virginia Tech rushes for 200 yards in the last 16 years, they're 91 wins and I think 7 losses. And they're well on their way to rushing for 200 yards.
142 yards rushing on the night. Taylor on first down. Tyrod getting heat, going to pull it down. Taylor headed for the corner. Tyrod stretching. Flag coming flying, but it is a touchdown.
I tell you, that he is a great scrambler. He has great peripheral vision. He can find it.
He's a great playmaker.
No doubt.
I mean, the linebacker, Dustin Lineback, had him one-on-one in the open field. You didn't think his eyes were as big as saucers out there. Tyrod Taylor made a quick move and was gone.
Well, Taylor, who was running for the end zone earlier and fumbled just short of the goal line out of the back of the end zone, this time gets it in. Look at the great move.
In and out.
Oh, there's some lingerie on the deck. That one. And it appears maybe the flag came in late.
After the play, a personal foul by the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty being forced on the kickoff.
What they're going to call is Eskridge coming in on the top after Taylor had scored the touchdown.
Look at the awareness of Tyrod Taylor flying through the air to get that ball over the goal line and into the end zone.
And short memories, Tyrod says that he has, because he didn't have that thing wrapped up again. He was willing to stretch it. It paid off that time, and the late hit on Eskridge that will be assessed later. As it is, the extra point is true, and Virginia Tech, with 2:06 remaining in the first half, has a 13-0 lead. Let's go back now to the studio and check in with Chris Fowler.
Reese, thanks. The IBM halftime report. Craig will tell us what LSU's Jordan Jefferson has to do to engineer the upset of the Crimson Tide. A visit with Boise State coach Chris Peterson on the eve of his game tomorrow night. And we'll debate the Boise versus Oregon issue in the polls. All that coming up in the IBM halftime report.
All right, Chris, we'll look forward to it. Tyrod Taylor, first touchdown of the night for Virginia Tech. And while we're waiting to kick off here, as Greg Hudson's defense is now falling behind 13-0. What do you guys think of the Boise-Oregon debate in terms of, is it an absolute for you guys, because of the way Boise handled Oregon in the opening game of the season, that the Ducks can't move past them in the polls?
Well, that's all I could evaluate is they played one another, and not only did they beat them decisively. I mean, for a half, Oregon didn't even have a first down.
I'm usually one of those guys that head-to-head play means a lot to me, but in this case, I can make an excuse for Oregon because first-time head coach in his first game on the road at Boise, and if you look at the difficult schedule that Oregon's faced since then and the easy schedule that Boise State's had since that point, I think right now both teams remain undefeated for the remainder of the season. I would have to put Oregon ahead of them because of their difficult schedule.
The resume, I don't think there's any question the entire resume for Oregon's going to look better, but Coach makes a great point. It's really hard to get past. It wasn't, you know, a one-point win.
No,
and somebody, I mean,
solid.
it was a dominant victory for the Broncos. I mean, that's hard to get past.
Didn't something like that happen in the Big 12 last year where a head-to-head team beat the other team and the team didn't play for the
It did,
Big
but
12 championship?
they all had the same record.
Head-to-head.
Yeah, but they lost to a team who beat the other one.
Hey,
you know, it was
don't tell me about head-to-head all the time. I got bad memories.
Dustin Meyer kicking it out of the back of the end zone. As Carolina will get it on the 20. The bad memory Lou refers to is 1993, prior to the advent of the BCS, when his Notre Dame team beat Florida State, still left out of the championship game. And here's how it stands right now. Iowa's sitting there at number 4, just ahead of Cincinnati, TCU, and Boise State.
And you look at Iowa. They can't run it. They can't throw it. They can't complete it. They got a quarterback that's thrown for as many interceptions as he has touchdowns, but they continue to find a way to win.
At some point, that weakness becomes a strength. Iowa expects to make a winning play on the next one as Pinckney tries to get a solid offensive play going for East Carolina late in the half, and he overshoots Alex Taylor.
The best thing East Carolina can do now is run the clock out, get out of here, down 13-0, regroup at halftime.
Skip Holtz's team has moved it a little, fits and starts. Now they give it to Lindsey. Dominique Lindsey across the 25, up to the 27. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 3 as the clock winds inside a minute 50.
Boy, I tell you, I am impressed with the quickness of Virginia Tech and how well they get off blocks, Mark.
They definitely do. They're well coached.
It looked like that was going to be a big gain. It turns out 7 yards.
3rd and 3. Pinckney on the slant. This time he is right on the money. Puts it right in the gut of Alex Taylor. Good for the Pirate first down. Stephon Virgil on the stop. And inside 90 seconds to go in the half. The Pirates with their full allotment of timeouts. They'll try the hurry-up offense. This is one thing that, Todd Fitch said that sometimes tempo can cause a little confusion for Virginia Tech. We'll see how it fares in the 2-minute offense. Pinckney being pressured. Has a man wide open. It's Freeney. He'll dance out of bounds to get the clock stopped. Grimm was on the coverage.
What a nice job by quarterback Patrick Pinckney, keeping the play alive. He wanted to go left for the football. Terrific protection by the guys up front. Had to make something happen, and he did.
But Virginia Tech does such a good job in the rush lanes, Mark. There's nowhere for him to scramble. He can buy time, but he can't pick up positive yardage.
Brandon Jackson, the transfer from Kentucky, checked into the game at running back for the Pirates. Pinckney adjusts him. They give it to Jackson. Jackson has a first down inside, or cross, I should say, the 45-yard line. He's stopped by Stephen Friday. They'll stop the clock to move the chains with 1:04 remaining in the half. Clock now winding inside a minute. East Carolina has all of its timeouts. Now quickly Pinckney can get the snap off. Now lost about 15 seconds. Pinckney getting pressure from the outside. He gets rid of it. Taylor's out there, and so too was Virgil. He couldn't connect. 41 seconds remaining in the half. 2nd and 10 facing East Carolina. Shad Carmichael coming on the blitz. Man they call Rock, making Pinckney get rid of it.
That's a nice call by defensive coordinator Bud Foster. He's not going to let Patrick Pinckney just sit back there and try to pick apart his defense. He's going to pressure him. He's going to bring safeties. He's going to bring corners. He's going to put pressure with the blitz on him. On that play, they got pressure on him at the end. Got to get rid of the football.
Pinckney gets rid of it quickly. Dwayne Harris has it for just the 3rd time tonight. He has a first down inside the Virginia Tech 40, stopped by Cody Grimm. And now time is against the Pirates. 35 seconds remaining, and the clock is winding.
You don't get 6 timeouts next half.
They have all their timeouts that they can use. They let about 12 to 15 get away earlier. Pinckney firing to Taylor, and Taylor gets out of bounds to stop the clock at the 32.
The hardest thing Skip should do is run the clock out and win it at halftime and regroup. I told you.
Now the key, I think, for East Carolina here, they move the ball at times in this game.
Yes.
Can they finish it, drive, and get points on the board? I think that's key, particularly for their momentum going into halftime.
Well, when you have 6 penalties for 60 yards, and most of them on the offense, that's hard to maintain continuity.
Lindsey back in the game. He split out in the slot. 5 receivers, a little bit of a low snap. Worlds was coming quickly on Pinckney. He eluded him, and did he catch the ball? Alex Taylor going to his knees.
Wow.
He was covered well by Carmichael. The ball bounced around, and Taylor found the ball lying on his stomach. Figured he might as well hang on to the thing.
Well, they came with a blitz, straight man coverage.
No.
No, it did not.
Great play by Taylor.
They came with a blitz man coverage, and Pinckney could have ran up and handed it to him. What great concentration.
Concentration. The ball hit him in the back of the head. He's lucky it bounced in front of him.
But, you know, Carmichael actually got a hand on it. And when he did, he sort of batted it back to Taylor. It was great concentration. East Carolina uses the timeout with 17 seconds remaining in the half. Only 3 races remain now. Jimmy Johnson has a commanding lead. His quest for an unprecedented 4th straight championship this week, trying to foil the hopes of Jeff Gordon, who goes for the season sweep in Texas. The Dixies 500 at Texas, 2:30 Eastern on ABC. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com or just check in with my partners here, too. You know, right?
Jimmy Johnson's won the last 3 series titles, 2006, 7, and 8. He's only one of 2 drivers in NASCAR history, Mark, to win 3 consecutive titles. Kel Yarborough did it in 76 through 78, and there's never been a 4-time consecutive winner. You didn't think I'd know NASCAR, did you?
I know you always do your homework. East Carolina trying to get on the board before the half. Taylor, an easier grab this time. It was nearly picked off. He was struggling toward the sidelines. He wanted to get on the ground. Davon Morgan was there, and Pinckney got the timeout with 9 seconds to go. Stephon Virgil was the one who nearly stepped in front of this one and took it the other way.
What a dangerous play to call in this situation, Coach. That ball is 1 inch from being interception and taken back to the house for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, it is, but that's just the thin difference. A little slant go is in order. But you don't want to call the slant go after they intercept the slant for 6 points.
So 9 seconds to go. East Carolina has 1st and goal, an opportunity from the 7-yard line. Have at least one shot at the end zone before bringing somebody out to get points. Now, you said get into halftime, run out the clock. your son, the kids are so disobedient these days. You know,
he's always been that way, but no, he always believes that he can score with a minute to go. To me, I'm more interested. Let's get into halftime. Let's regroup. We get the ball the first half. Let's make sure that we don't destruct ourselves, because they had the ball on their own 20.
A 10-play, 73-yard drive. East Carolina to a 1 timeout left. They might be ruining. They didn't call some timeouts earlier. It appeared that the Hokies jumped in the neutral zone. Pinckney firing into traffic. He was looking for Ren Willis, and Cody Grimm was on the coverage.
2nd down.
Cody Grimm has been everywhere in this game. Reminds me a lot of his father. Overachiever, guy that's making plays all over the place, guy that you can always count on, that's dependable, leader on the defensive side of the ball. His father played in the offensive line.
Okay, now let's look at this, guys. They have 5 seconds to go, 2nd and goal right now, and East Carolina's still going to run a play.
You run a slant. Run a slant or a fade. Boom, boom, right now.
Also hope for the home clock, and East Carolina is going to go ahead and call a timeout here now, because clearly there won't be time to complete it in the field of play and call a timeout, so you might as well make sure you
have
now
the play he wants to use his timeouts, Reese.
Yeah, but here's the point. What he does now, he signals to Virginia Tech, we're definitely throwing this football. If, with 9 seconds to go, not necessarily 5, you can run the football and call timeout, because they were spread out all over. Once you pop the line of scrimmage, you could have scored just easy on the runs you could on the pass.
I think maybe Todd Harris reporting, it looks like as we look down on the sidelines now that maybe Skip Holtz has changed his mind right now. He's going to send out the field goal unit. Because you certainly, after this drive, an 11-play drive, covered 73 yards in the waning moments of the first half, you do not want to go to that locker room with nothing.
That's absolutely right. And I think they finally got into a rhythm. Maybe the second half they should try some no huddle, get it up to the ball and get a rhythm going, because that was the best drive thus far they put together this game.
You know, Todd Fitch said that was one thing. Tempo sometimes bothers Virginia Tech, and at least in this situation, in the 2-minute drill at the end, it did. So Ben Hartman will try to get the Pirates on the board from 24 yards out. Hartman is true, and the 2-minute drill at the end of the half works well enough to get East Carolina on the board, so we'll head to halftime with the Hokies ranked 23rd in the BCS standings with a 13-3 lead. Ryan Williams with 88 yards on the ground, as the Hokies have done a nice job running it. East Carolina held to just 3 as we check in with Todd Harris.
All
right, Coach, you told us earlier this week one of the big keys would be to contain Tyrod Taylor. How do you think your defense has done there?
A couple of times, I mean, they've done okay, but we have let him get out a few times as well. You know, it doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but we got that turnover down there that kept them off the board when they fumbled on the goal line. But biggest thing to this half right now is penalties. That's the biggest thing so far.
Your father has always told me that you've been an obedient son, but he thought on that last drive you should have taken a knee and taken it to the locker room. What did you see there that saw you could get some points?
You know, we're not gonna turn and give up. If there's clock on the time on that clock, we feel like offensively we have a chance to get something going. I thought the offense did a great job in the 2-minute drive. We practice it all the time. I thought they did a good job. They didn't flinch. You know, we're sitting here in a 13-3 football game, but again, we had a touchdown call back and a number of big plays go against us.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Reese?
All right, Todd, so a 13-3 lead for Virginia. Just heard the Kings of Leon on Lou's iPod a little while ago. Glad to have you with us. ESPN's College Football Prime Time, presented by Applebee's. Reese Davis, Lou Holtz, Mark May, Todd Harris with you. Just about set to get started the second half. Virginia Tech with a 13-3 lead on East Carolina as we're about to start the third quarter. And East Carolina gathered a little momentum at the end of the half with the field goal drive in the waning moments, Lou.
Well, I think two things. They have to get rid of the penalties, which hurt them on offense. The other thing, they got to find a way to stop Tyrod Taylor from scrambling.
I think if you look at East Carolina, they got into a rhythm with a no-huddle offense. If they can continue that quick strike, go the no-huddle 2-minute offense, they may put a lot of pressure on Virginia Tech's defense in the second half.
East Carolina ended the half with a field goal, and they get the ball to start the second half. Norman Whitley will take it just across his own 10. Whitley gets up close to the 30-yard line before he is knocked down by Alonzo Tweedy. Let's take a look at tonight's coaching adjustments brought to you by the Home Depot.
And pounding the football early, when you look at running back Ryan Williams, he didn't accomplish a lot. But if you're Frank Beamer, you say feed the beast. Give him the rock as much as possible. Give him the opportunity to wear the defense down. And he did in the first half. 12 carries, 88 yards, averaging over 7 yards a carry. Here, a huge pickup for the offense, Virginia Tech.
That broken tackle run where he broke 2 or 3 tackles for the big 46-yard run seemed to ignite Williams and found seams in the defense often after that. Dominique Lindsay with his first carry of the second half, stopped by Cam Chancellor. Lindsay had 38 yards rushing in the first half, averaging over 4 yards a carry, and East Carolina is picking up the tempo. Worked successfully late in the first half. Lindsay keeping it on the ground. Pick up a couple as we check in on the sideline with Todd Harris.
All right, Reese, I had a chance to talk with head coach Frank Beamer just a moment ago, and he said he was very happy for the most part with the first half. Other than that last 2 minutes, he said on that last drive, he said they threw some things at us that we hadn't seen, we weren't ready for, and we weren't disciplined. He said if we stay disciplined and if we execute the offensive plan we came here to do, we'll be just fine. If not, he said that East Carolina team is a very good program.
40% of the time, Virginia Tech has forced 3 and outs, and they're going to do it again with the first drive of the second half of the Pirates as Pinckney's pass, intended for Dwayne Harris, was incomplete. And East Carolina, that is one thing with their offense. They've had difficulty getting the ball in Dwayne Harris's hands.
They have, and if they don't intercept the snap from center, you can hand it to them. You don't always have to throw it to them. I mean, you do that when you have a great football player, you find ways to get them the ball. In addition to that, they're playing so much man coverage, they got to run maximum protection and let Harris run a double move, and out and up, a slant and a go.
A fourth down. Matt Dodge is going to punt it away for the 5th time tonight. Ron Hosley, the freshman who muffed one in the first half, makes the fair catch at the 27-yard line. That's where the Hokies will have it. Friday night, you'll see the nation's most efficient passer, Kellen Moore, leading undefeated Boise State into Ruston to take on Louisiana Tech. 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2 as the 7th-ranked Broncos try to remain dominant in their conference in addition to staying in the hunt for a BCS berth. You see how well Moore has played all year.
That's why Boise State's are very good. 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
That's a pretty good ratio.
That's not bad. That's a career for most people, Mark.
Flag on the first snap.
A false start by number 11 of the offense. Penalty's 5 yards. And it's still first down.
He had Dyrell Roberts for that, and you hear a bit of a sarcastic, a bit of applause from the patrons here at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. It's only the second penalty on Virginia Tech tonight, while East Carolina has been hit with 6 of them, including one that brought back a touchdown.
But I want to mention it's not the officials' responsibility to make sure the penalties are even. That's up to the teams.
Yeah, but the crowd's biased.
Well,
They're
the crowd.
supposed to.
Yeah, you're right there.
First and 15. Taylor, Xavier Boyce. And the catch, Boyce gets across the 25-yard line. He's knocked down by Van Eskridge. Eskridge is a big hitter in that Pirates secondary. His teammates sometimes call him friendly fire because he will come in sometimes and try to clean up the pile, and they'll feel the brunt of Eskridge and his big hitting ways. He has 7 tackles so far tonight. He has freedom in Greg Hudson's defense along with the linebackers because they have so much experience. If he sees a gap, he's free to blitz whether a blitz is called or not. A great deal of trust shown by the defensive coordinator of East Carolina. Underneath to Ryan Williams, and he goes absolutely nowhere. Emmanuel Davis all over him. It'll bring up 3rd down. Glenville Joseph back there making Taylor get rid of it.
And what a smart play by Emmanuel Davis, Coach. He sees the play develop right in front of him. He doesn't go outfield. Sees it's dumped off to Ryan Williams, and there he is making a terrific open field tackle.
Now here you are, 3rd and 12. Virginia Tech with 36% coming in. You must be successful on this down to get off the field.
3rd and 13. The Hokies forced a 3 and out. East Carolina's first possession. Pirates trying to return the favor. Taylor. Roll in the pocket, and he gets drilled. Coming flying in from his linebacker position is Jeremy Chambliss.
This is a good start by the defense, Mark.
It's a good read by the linebacker, Jeremy Chambliss. Here he's just playing down the keyboard as the linebacker decides when Tyrone Taylor pulls it up, he's going to come flying in and make the play. That's a smart read by a smart back.
It was the same pattern they completed successfully on 3rd and 8, but East Carolina did a better job defending, and Tyrod Taylor protected the ball.
Bowden, 2 punts, averaging over 54 yards per. He could use a big boomer this time. Travis Simmons going to call for the fair catch, and he takes it at his 32-yard line. So East Carolina will have it for the 2nd time tonight after the 48-yard punt. Taylor in the Hokies. Iowa takes on Ohio State next week. Part of the nation will see other regional action. You can check your local listings. College football presented by Kay Jewelers, ABC, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 on the West Coast. Second possession of the second half for East Carolina. The Pirates kicked a field goal just before halftime to get on the board. Mason Worlds chasing Pinckney, and Patrick Pinckney will dance out of bounds. Worlds beat DJ Scott, and DJ appeared to be close to getting a holding call over there, Mayday.
I was shocked he wasn't called for a hold on that. He got away with one on that one, but terrific hustle on the play by Patrick Pinckney of making something happen. Positive auto play where Jason Worlds should have had him for the sack.
But that shows you the speed of Virginia Tech. Their linemen run as fast as the quarterback for East Carolina, Pinckney.
And he was behind him and ran him out of bounds.
Oh, I know. They got tremendous speed.
Worlds is an elite level pass rusher. Teams have paid a lot of attention to him this season. Lindsey keeps it, and Lindsey stops short of the 40-yard line. Davon Morgan, junior out of Richmond, stop. Gidry making a good block to give Lindsey some running room.
That could not have been blocked any better, and it was a 3-yard gain. Why? Because the safety's up on the line of scrimmage making the tackle. I mean, nobody else had a shot at him, but it's a 3-yard gain.
3rd and 3 as East Carolina tries to avoid its second 3 and out. Harris coming in motion. Pinckney leaves it with his running back. It's Lindsey trying to get the edge. A stiff arm on Chancellor. And Lindsey with a terrific run inside the 45-yard line. Cody Grimm gets him down. A tremendous effort from Dominique Lindsey.
And, Coach, it was all Dominique Lindsey on this play. Virginia Tech had him at the line of scrimmage, but he kept fighting through the tacklers. Gave a terrific stiff arm here. Look at this. Right there, they should have had him there. It just throws the defender right down to the grass. Keeps on going. First down, East Carolina.
It was very fine effort there. Well played by Virginia Tech, but you still have to tackle.
Giovanni Ruffin giving Lindsey a rest after the 18-yard run. Pirates back in Hokie territory. Harris going to get it. Now the reverse. Freeney has some running room, gets a block from his quarterback, and Freeney is knocked out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. Nikos Brown keeping that from being a huge gain for the Pirates.
And this is a fabulous job by the quarterback, Patrick Pinckney. He doesn't have to get a devastating block. Just get your body between the defender and the ball carrier. That's what he does right there. Turns the shoulders. Nice job.
Very nice job. Notice that Virginia Tech keeps running in fresh defensive linemen.
Second down and 1. Ruffin has it. Ruffin dancing into the hole beautifully. Giovanni Ruffin powering into the red zone. He'll be knocked down at the 18 by Chancellor, and the Pirates are on the move.
Here you're going to see a tackle pull around there. It's a trap, really. Ruffin does a nice job. Gets a good block downfield from Harris.
Ruffin started slowly this year. He had some excellent runs during training camp to assert himself. Once the season got started, the game was moving a little bit faster. The last couple of weeks, he has run with abandon, and he puts the ball on the ground, and Virginia Tech signaling they have it, and the officials agree. Ruffin just flat dropped it. Never got the handoff from Pinckney.
Let's see whether it was a handoff or whether it was him reaching for it.
Wendell Gibson.
The prime example on that, the back has to run his stomach through the ball. You do not reach for the ball. You run your stomach through the ball. That's up to you to have the alignment on the quarterback. The quarterback's responsible for the handoff, but you got to be close enough to the quarterback he can make the handoff.
Wendell Gibson came up with a fumble recovery. Wendell making his first start at linebacker. Key moment for the Hokies, and Ryan Williams tries to answer. Williams picks up about 7. Van Eskridge once again on the stop for the Pirates.
You know, last week we put up the little chart mark about what you have to do in order to win. And 2 things that were critical. One was turnovers, the other was penalties. And East Carolina has been negligent on both of those.
They definitely have. They haven't been able to finish drives. It's always been a bad play, a turnover, a penalty. Instead of getting points on the board, it was another missed opportunity for East Carolina.
They've had 2 turnovers inside Virginia Tech's red zone.
One after a penalty called a touchdown back. This one stopping another red zone drive. Taylor, though, getting all kinds of pressure, kept the play alive and found Cole across the 40 for the first down.
There is a great example. The quarterback just making the play. Nobody was open to read. He bought time. He found time. Just it.
And that's the athleticism of Tyrod Taylor here. He's going to take the ball, play action pass. He feels the heat coming, rolls to his left, and comes back to his right. Finds a receiver down the field to play. First down, Virginia Tech. Terrific job of Tyrod Taylor of being patient and not panicking on the play.
Linville Joseph was in the backfield again. He's pretty much had his way with the guys up front from Virginia Tech, but been unable to corral Taylor on a couple of occasions. Not many can. Taylor gets it out of his hand quickly, setting up the screen. Roberts has it, still on his feet. Roberts gets just into East Carolina territory at about the 49 and bring up 2nd and short.
The main difference I see in these 2 football teams is, one, Virginia Tech protects their football. East Carolina's been negligent. But the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, is just doing an excellent job. He is really impressive, Mark. I've never seen him in person, but boy, he's something.
2nd and 2, Williams, stutter step, driving those legs, and you know Ryan Williams wears number 34 because of Walter Payton, and there were some physical similarities with that run.
That was a run just like Walter Payton. He just kept those feet chugging along right here. Looks like they've got him bottled up, but he's got 2 hands on the football, and he keeps those legs chugging, dragging defenders downfield for another Virginia Tech first down.
But boy, you go play good defense, your offense turns the ball over. It just dispirits the whole thing when you self-destruct.
Williams' 6th 100-yard rushing effort of the season. And I mentioned that his hero is Walter Payton. In fact, Williams has a tattoo on his arm, Little Sweetness. Of course, Sweetness was Walter Payton's nickname. And the way he bowed that head down, the way Walter Payton used to do back in the day to drive through the defender and pick up extra yardage, this is a very gifted running back that Frank Beamer has. And they lost Darren Evans in the preseason to a knee injury. Many believe that their running game was going to be adversely affected as the flags fly. But Williams has stepped up big time. A false start on the Hokies.
I believe he.
False start on Virginia Tech.
I believe he also has a tattoo on his arm that says 845, made in New York, which is the zip code for where he was born. Newburgh.
Area code, right?
Area code, yeah. Area code. Yeah, that's right. That's the type of thing you dial, right? I'm not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree, Mark. Whoa!
2nd and 15. We'll see what Brian Steinspring can dial up for the Hokie offense. Jarrett Boykin, quick catch, short pickup of maybe 4 yards. Bring up 3rd and 11, maybe 3rd and 12 where they mark it now. It'll be 3rd and long at any rate for an offense that's converted about 39% of the time on the season and is 3 of 8 tonight.
Yeah, but with a running team, you should be higher than that because we're not talking about 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. We're talking about 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11. This is critical for East Carolina's defense.
Taylor with 4 receivers, and he's sending Williams out too. Taylor getting heat. Taylor escapes again. Throws it into traffic, and it's incomplete. How he got away from the pressure coming from Levin Neal and also from Steve Spence and still got rid of the football. Nothing short of amazing.
That's Houdini. But the amazing thing, Mark, he never puts a ball in jeopardy when he throws it scrambling.
And not only that, when he's being pressured in the pocket, he protects the football. You never see the ball knocked out of his hands. He's always looking to make a play down the field.
Was knocked out of his hands just before the touchdown earlier tonight, though.
That was down the field.
Okay,
that wasn't in the
field.
pocket.
Okay, all right.
You're just a nitpicker, aren't you?
I'm just here to clarify the hands. Brent Bowden will punt it away. 4th and 12. The Hokies were able to flip the field after the turnover and picked up some yardage, and East Carolina will start on their 20 as the punt goes into the end zone. Under 6 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. East Carolina just a field goal on the board. They'll have it when you come back. Beast Barbecue. It's so good they named a street after the place, but Todd, I understand that there's a little bit of a nuance in trying to get served at Beast Barbecue.
Yeah, Reese, no one told me about that. At 12:30, you're pretty much too late. Basically, they cook up 3 pigs a day. When those 3 pigs are gone, they close down shop. I went in there even tried to big time. I said, I know Reese Davis. They said, he's from Alabama. I said, I know Mark May. They said, he's a Yankee. I said, I know Lou Holtz. They said, you know Coach Holtz? I said, yeah. They go, which one? I said, Lou. They go, next. Nothing.
We'll try to get you some Beast Barbecue next time in town, Todd. Dwayne Harris lined up in the Wildcat, the direct snap formation. First time that's happened tonight. Second time he's carried the ball. Took a short gain, maybe about 4. It'll bring up 2nd and 6. And Harris still lined up in the quarterback position. He came to East Carolina as a quarterback, playing receiver. Hand it to him, get it to him in any way they can. Snapping it to him is the most direct way. Dominique Lindsay getting up close to first down territory. When the linesman's walking in, I believe he's going to be about a half-yard short. Nikos Brown on the stop along with Wendell Gibson.
And for East Carolina, they needed a spark offensively. That's why they're putting the ball in one of their best playmakers, Dwayne Harris's hands. On the season, he's run the football, he's thrown the football, he's caught the football, he's returned the football. He is a playmaker for this East Carolina offense.
Boy, you have 3rd and about 6 inches. That's when you want to have the guy under the center be able to run a quarterback sneak.
And they run the quarterback trap or quarterback draw with Harris. Harris has company in the backfield, and he broke a tackle and got across the 30. Tremendous individual effort by Dwayne Harris for the first down.
That was all effort, completely.
But now Harris, who has a very strong arm as well, and in fact, the possibility exists. They can even look at him at quarterback next year after Patrick Pinckney is gone. But Pinckney's standing on the sideline right now, and Pinckney was really agitated last week when he was taken out of the game for a few plays for Josh Jordan after he'd put the ball on the ground. And he struggled a little bit at times tonight, and so they're taking a series with Harris and the Wildcat. Remember, he can throw it too. But not this time. Harris, a nifty move. Took to about the 35-yard line. Rock Carmichael with the stop. Here is the third down play, guys, that Harris converted to move the chains for East Carolina.
So, Coach, you didn't like this decision to run it out of the shotgun, 3rd and short. That's a hometown spot.
I want to tell you, my personal feeling is get him up under the center, wedge it, get a quarterback sit. Get a first down, then you have 3 more downs to do it.
Pick up a 4 on first down after perhaps a somewhat generous spot. Did you think?
Just a wee bit.
Harris still in a quarterback. Harris still on his feet. And now he's in a world of trouble and running the wrong way. And he's tackled back inside his 25. Hokies everywhere on the stop. Nikos Brown was first. Carmichael was there. Bruce Taylor in on it. Pretty much everybody short of Bruce Smith in on the tackle for the Hokies.
But that's where you tell your offense, forward's good. Against Virginia, forward's good. We don't need the great play, eliminate the bad ones. But once again, well-coached defense by Bud Foster.
So Harris heads to the sideline, and Patrick Pinckney back in at quarterback. Running back in on a 3rd and 14 play. Blitz coming. He throws short underneath and complete, but it won't be anywhere near the first down.
All they're doing when they go empty, Mark, they are blitzing, going straight man coverage and blitzing more people than what East Carolina can protect, forcing them to throw the ball so that they can't pick up the long yardage for the first down.
Pinckney got 1 snap in that series, completed the pass to Jacoby Jenkins, a freshman, making his first catch of the night. 1 first down, but then 3 more and another punt for the Pirates. Matt Dodge, kick it away. Little rugby look. We're driving on the ground and try to get the bounce. Jaron Hosley will clear it away, and it's going to be a nice roll for the Pirates, and they'll touch it dead at the 15-yard line. Under 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Virginia Tech will try to build on their lead when we come back.
MVP of that program makes this stuff called Pirate Crunch. Now, I'll tell you what, I came here at 160 pounds. After this stuff, though, I don't know.
Here, Papa, we gave you a little extra. Go Pirates.
Now, I'm telling you, Coach, this stuff is addicting. I think this was supposed to be for you, but I'll try to save you a little bit. This stuff is delish. Your daughter-in-law does a great job.
She does that, and she's a beautiful woman, as both our daughter-in-laws are.
Josh Oglesby in the backfield, and he stopped behind the line of scrimmage for Virginia Tech. So what Todd doesn't know is that there were reserve containers sent up here for everybody at the Pirate Crunch. There at one time was a 4th one with Todd's name on it. Somehow, a look moments ago, it's empty. I don't know how that happened, but it did. This is it's good stuff. It's tough to stay out of this.
Yeah.
Todd's right.
Notice Skip enjoys it.
2nd down and 11. Tyrod Taylor dancing up close to the 20-yard line and bring up another 3rd down for the Hokies. Jeremy Chambliss making the stop as the clock heads down toward a minute left to play here in the 3rd quarter.
One thing about the Virginia Tech offense, if they can't run the football with their terrific running back in Ryan Williams, you got your quarterback that can pull it down and make some things happen, get some positive yards and keep the clock moving.
Well, that's the biggest difference between these football teams. East Carolina's defense has played an outstanding game. Greg Hudson and the staff has a very well-coached defensive football team.
3rd and 5. Taylor, plenty of time. Started to run, pulls it down, completes the pass, got the first down. Danny Cole, those two hooked up the hero of the Nebraska game, at least the one that got him out of big trouble with the 81-yarders. You see the 3rd down completion.
This is incredible, Mark. Watch how he just knows where it is. They got him contained. They're there. He steps up, steps back.
Talk about having trust and confidence in your offensive line to hold the defenders back for that amount of time and then stepping up and completing the ball for first down.
Remember, they have a freshman center, Michael Vise, making his first start tonight. He's done a good job up front. Oh, it's intercepted and dropped. Levin Neal had it in his hands and could not hang on to the swing pass. He read it beautifully and almost had a game-changing type play.
Oh, what a great play this is. What a great effort. He sees it coming, Mark.
He breaks on the ball 100 miles an hour right there, and it looks like he had it, but then he just lost it when he hit the ground. What a terrific job of reading the play and breaking on the play.
Taylor was looking for Cole. A little wide receiver swing that they've run a couple of times tonight, and Neal had seen quite enough of that. He was going to try to take it away. A little bit safer this time to give it to Ryan Williams. Williams up across the 40, and another first down for the Hokies.
What he does besides continue to keep moving his legs is he always runs through that first tackle. That first guy is not going to get him. He's so elusive against that first tackle, he's going to run through that arm tackle.
You know, I know part of it's the number 34, and I dare not compare somebody lightly to the great Walter Payton. I'm talking more mannerisms and the way he gets his shoulders down to run. You can tell he studied Payton and studied him well, because Williams is having another fantastic night. 121 yards through 3 quarters. Virginia Tech heads to the 4th with a 10-point lead on East Carolina. Headed to the 4th quarter in Greenville, Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. They blared "Welcome to the Jungle" over the PA system. Got the Pirate faithful all riled up as they try to come from behind. Virginia Tech up by 10 and with the ball as we start the 4th quarter. Reese Davis, Lou Holtz, Mark May, Todd Harris with you. Some guy in a chicken suit's there too. I don't know what he's doing. It's a 1st and 10 for Tyrod Taylor. Taylor again getting pressure and scrambling. Taylor splits a couple of defenders and gets up to the 45. And there's a late flag coming in as Taylor was brought down. Taylor appears to be a little bit shaken up. Josh Smith.
After the play, a personal foul on the defense, number 91. It's a 15-yard penalty, and it's a 1st down.
It was Josh Smith who got called for the personal foul. Taylor was down. A little bit of a late hit. What'd you think, Mark?
I thought the call was appropriate. He was already down. He comes in right there. Tries to spear him.
It has been a point of emphasis for officials this year to try to cut down the late plays, but in fairness to the defensive players, sometimes it's really difficult to stop the momentum once you get going, trying to play aggressively. Williams picking up 7, maybe 8 yards.
Particularly when you got a quarterback, you have trouble tackling. He beats all kind of tackling. You got people going to the ball. You don't count another guy tackling him. That could be a little bit controversial.
I don't know. Did you see Ryan Williams finish that run?
Yes.
He put his head down and just carried 3 defenders another extra yard.
2nd down and 2. As the Hokies already up by 2 scores. Driving in hopes of perhaps putting this game out of reach. Williams getting across the 30-yard line is going to be close to the 1st down. I think probably got enough. Van Eskridge on the stop. Williams does have another Hokie 1st down. He's now up to 131 yards on the night. Averaging over 7 yards per carry, and Williams by himself has outrushed the Pirates so far.
He's just wearing down the East Carolina defense. For East Carolina to get back in this game, Coach, they've got to get a stop or they've got to force a turnover. Get something positive happening for the football team.
Williams has it again. Hunting, pegging his way in, and he's hit hard after picking up a couple.
Well, unlike Virginia Tech, East Carolina doesn't have the depth to be able to submit and put in new defensive linemen as we've seen Virginia Tech do.
Williams picking up a couple, and for the 2nd straight year, the Hokies have a freshman go for 1,000 yards. We mentioned earlier tonight, Darren Evans hurt in the preseason, lost for the year to a knee injury, and many believe that the Hokie running game would really take a big hit. Williams hadn't played before, dynamic talent, and he's lived up to his billing coming out of high school, and he's doing some more of it. Another flag flying in late after the Williams run gets down to about the 22.
Personal foul, a leg whip on number 77 of the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty, and it's still 2nd down.
Leg whip called on Ed Wang, the senior left tackle, and it appears from looking there that Ed might have taken the worst of that.
See, here's the key, Ed. When you're delivering a leg whip, you punish the opponent, not yourself. And right there, he trips up the defender going across the top. They're going to call that every time.
Ed Wang, who has a brother on the team, his parents, Robert and Nancy Wang, were track athletes on the Chinese Olympic team back in the 1970s, so good athletic genes. Big left tackle for the Hokies. Taylor going to try to get it back through the air. He's going to try to get it all. Cole was down there, and on the coverage was Travis Simmons. He'll bring up 3rd and 20.
I've really been impressed with East Carolina's defense and how well they've tackled. But what is great about this part, how well the defensive back played the ball in the air. He didn't play the receiver, he played the ball.
For Travis Simmons, he's upset on that play because if he would have played the ball a little bit better, he should have come down with the interception on that play.
3rd and 20 now from the 40-yard line. So you're not necessarily trying to get it all here. You want to get close enough to get into field goal range?
But what East Carolina's been doing tonight, they're doing a great job of the entire night, coach, is playing the deep ball well.
Taylor, pressure coming. He eludes Johnson. He takes a big shot. Trying to get it to Dyrell Roberts. Ball bounced in there. It'll be 4th and 20. And another Pirate is down. He was on the rush.
Here they came.
I believe that's Josh Smith who was called for the personal foul.
You're going to see they did exactly what Virginia Tech has been doing. They came with more defenders than Virginia Tech could block and force the quick pass.
Tough to see exactly what happened to Smith there, who was called for the late hit on Tyrod Taylor just a few plays ago. Smith, a 274-pound junior who arrived here as a linebacker, says he plays pretty much because he's scared the other guy's going to kill him over there because he has to give up so much size. And you see,
I think it's his shoulder or his elbow. Very good tackle. Looks like it's his shoulder.
It's been a difficult night for the Pirates. Several guys have been banged up, and as Smith rises to the seat of his pants, we'll check on his condition when you come back.
Plenty of pickup. You don't even really feel like you're driving a hybrid.
He's have the lead. Just had a promising drive thwarted by a leg whip penalty. Move the Hokies back, and now they'll be punting it away on 4th and 20 from the East Carolina 40. Trying to pin the Pirates. And just have a lone field goal drive at the end of the first half, deep in their own end. Brent Bowden getting it out quickly. Angling it toward the corner. It'll hit inside the 5, and it crossed the plane at the goal line. It will be a touchback. Pirates take over on their 20. Only 3 races remain, and Jimmy Johnson holds a commanding lead, looking for an unprecedented 4th straight championship. This week, trying to foil the hopes of Jeff Gordon, who goes for the season sweep in Texas. It's the Dickies 500 in Texas, Sunday 2:30 Eastern on ABC. Coverage begins the NASCAR Countdown. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Veteran Mark Martin, 184 points off the pace as Johnson has been dominant the last 3 years, trying to make it 4 in a row. Just under 12 and a half to go. East Carolina down by 10 points, needs to get busy. Pinckney back in at quarterback. They ran a series in the Wildcat earlier with Harris. Pinckney going up top for Harris, and it is almost intercepted by Cam Chancellor. In fact, Harris did a good job to make sure he didn't intercept it. Rod Carmichael also on the coverage.
And Dwayne Harris turned from a wide receiver to a defensive back on this play, Coach, because quarterback Patrick Pinckney didn't hesitate on this play. He threw it right into double coverage. The safety comes over the top.
He almost came down with that ball.
Oh. Very nearly made a tremendous catch. Pinckney trying to run it on 2nd down. Grimm's out there and missed him, but Jason Worlds didn't, and he'll lose a couple of yards. Now, East Carolina sitting down 10 in the 4th quarter. Last year against Virginia Tech, they were down 9 with under 4 minutes to go when Patrick Pinckney ran in a short touchdown, and just moments later, as Bowden tried to punt, T.J. Lee blocked the punt, scooped it up, and scored, and East Carolina springs the upset against Virginia Tech 27-22. So, Pirates have some history, very similar circumstances in terms of the deficit they face against the Hokies here tonight. Looking at a 3rd and 12, showing a blitz off the corner. Lindsey picks it up beautifully, and Pinckney could have had Freeney, but he threw it behind him.
Virginia Tech rolling the dice now, saying we can play you man-to-man, and we're going to blitz more people than you can protect.
Mack did a good job picking up, I believe it was Grimm, coming from the outside. Lindsey stepped over and thwarted him nicely, and Freeney just didn't have a chance at it. That is the 5th 3-and-out for the Pirates tonight. Matt Dodge will punt for the 7th time. Dodge, not a great punt. Hosley takes it at his 45, looks for a little seam, and it's just across the 50-yard line, and that's where the Hokies will put it into play. Trying to put away the Pirates here on Thursday. Franchise has been around since 1935. 3 generations of the family have been longtime supporters of East Carolina University. Menzies Coliseum, the basketball arena on campus, named for the Menzies family. Have been so generous and gracious in their support for East Carolina University and the athletic program. 11:18 remaining to play. As you have a look at Menzies Coliseum, Reese Davis, Mark May, Lou Holtz, Todd Harris with you in Greenville. Both teams stepping out of conference tonight. Virginia Tech trying to stop a 2-game losing streak that has all but squashed their hopes of repeating as ACC champions, but still an opportunity to win 10 games if they can win out. East Carolina trying to slay a giant, knock off the team from a big BCS conference. Dyrell Roberts on the end around, and East Carolina was ready for it. The first guy there was Emmanuel Davis, and Jeremy Chambliss finished him off. In East Carolina, big negative play on first down.
Mark, East Carolina is very, very well coached. They just stay at home. Here comes the corner blitz.
A terrific job on this play of making something happen for the defense, getting up the field. Emmanuel Davis, the first hit on the ball carrier.
Roberts loses 8. Taylor behind the chains, looking at 2nd and 18. Quick pass to Cole. Cole gets some of it back. He stopped short of the 50-yard line. They'll mark him down just short of the 49. Pick up of 6, another 3rd down. Facing Virginia Tech. They're 4 of 11 on 3rd down tonight.
But that's pretty good, because many times they've been 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12.
Crowd trying to get into it, sensing that soon the clock will be against them. Down by 10 in the 4th quarter. Big Greg Boone going in motion across the formation. Taylor all kinds of time, looking for it all. Van Eskridge is back there. So too was Jared Boykin. It'll be incomplete. Emmanuel Davis also assisting Eskridge on the coverage.
One thing about Emmanuel Davis, he's been all over the field making plays this season, whether it be deep in the secondary, going up into the line of scrimmage, making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He's had a fabulous game so far.
He really has. We talk an awful lot about how great Virginia Tech's defense is, but I've also been equally impressed with how well East Carolina's defense has played, particularly when they've had such poor field position.
We have a Simmons back deep for the Pirates.
So Bowden will punt it away again for the Hokies. Trying to pin the Pirates deep in their own end. A near miss last time. He dropped it inside the 5. The Hokies couldn't keep it from trickling into the end zone. That is a beautiful looking punt. Hits inside the 10. Virginia Tech will down it inside the 20. Had nearly 5 seconds hang time on that. They'll mark it just short of the 15 as we check in with Todd Harris. Todd?
All right, Reese. Well, there have been some great motivational speeches in history. Of course, John Belushi, Animal House, Coach Lou Holtz at several of his teams. But this may be the most inspirational one of all. Sharon Johnson, the mother of Ryan Williams. Last week, you were at the game. You saw the fumble. What was your first thought?
I felt horrible. I just started crying. I knew Ryan felt awful because he takes pride in holding that ball and making sure, you know, he does not fumble. So I just felt for him because I knew he was distraught.
Pinckney on the roll, being chased, and guess who? Cody Grimm, as he's been there all night. Todd?
What was the moment like when he came out of the locker room and saw you?
He just ran into my arms and started crying. And I told him that it was one play. He did not lose the game, and it happens to the best of them.
And most importantly, you coached him up for tonight.
I did. we talk every day. Ryan and I talk every day. So I think, you know, with me telling him even the best have their days, I think that helped Ryan a lot. And plus he had a whole overwhelming,
Pinckney's pass is complete.
Side over.
Freeney makes the catch, moves the change for East Carolina as we check back in with Todd.
Okay.
That's Todd Harris talking with Ryan Williams' mother. Ryan, of course, had the fumble last week against North Carolina. Certainly didn't lose the game. One play never does, but the focal point, because it came deep in his own end at the end of the game, a tie game. North Carolina eventually won it on a field goal. Williams said it was the worst feeling he'd ever had in football. They blitzed Pinckney, he threw it up looking for Harris, and he couldn't quite connect with his standout performer who hasn't been able to touch the ball much tonight. Let's check in again one more time with Todd.
All right, thanks, Reese. So, Sharon, final verdict is you told him one play wouldn't determine the game. Your advice, next time maybe Reese has a bad game, how would you coach him up?
Tell them the same thing. It's a team effort. Even the best have their worst days, and it's only one game.
All right. There you go, Reese. Back to
That's typically what I do anyway. I blame Mark and Lou. Pinckney getting all kinds of pressure. He had to get rid of it quickly. Marquell Rivers applying the pressure, and I tell you, Williams has bounced back like a champ tonight. He's over 1,000 yards for the season. Tonight, 136 yards on 20 carries. He's electric when he gets the ball in his hands, guys.
And he hasn't had a lot of running room. Much of that yardage has been after the initial hit.
East Carolina picked up 1 first down. Have to pick up 10 on 3rd down to keep this drive alive.
They're coming with an all-out blitz every time on 3rd down and straight man coverage.
Showing it from the outside. East Carolina picks part of it up nicely. Ball was deflected. Was looking for Joe Womack on the slant. Pinckney on his knees. Pulled to his feet. Stephen Friday applied the pressure. And East Carolina is going to have to punt it again.
But a terrific job by Virginia Tech defensive coordinator Bud Foster of dialing up the blitz the last 2 plays, not sitting back, putting pressure on the East Carolina offense and quarterback Patrick Pinckney.
I think, Mark, if he was only ahead by 3, you'd think a little bit different. But you're saying, okay, let's roll the dice because we're still going to have the lead. You've got to prove you can beat us one-on-one.
Matt Dodge about to punt it for the 8th time tonight. The second half, 9 possessions, both teams combined. We've had 8 punts and a fumble, and Dodge uncorks a beauty. Then Hosley runs out like a center fielder inside his 10, and Dodge might have outkicked his coverage. Good return by Hosley. Gets it back up to the 25-yard line, and he saved the Hokies some valuable field position. But Virginia Tech has it back, a 10-point lead and under 8.5 to go. Back in Greenville, college football prime time rolling on. You see Todd Harris busy eating Pirate Crunch, so we found a replacement for him, sideline reporter out of the stands. Dowdy Ficklin Stadium. You need a hat like that, Mark?
You get a bowl of soup with a hat like that?
Looks good on you, though. Virginia Tech with a 13-3 lead as she calls the play-by-play as we can get her mic opened up. Ryan Williams opening it up, and with that run, Virginia Tech is over 200 yards rushing on the night. In the last 16 years, they've gone to the bowl game. They are 91-6 when they hit that mark, as Lou alluded to earlier.
This is the point of the game where you want to hang your hat on the offensive line. If you're Frank Beamer, you want to make sure Ryan Williams gets his touches, salt the ball away, milk the clock, and take the air out of the football.
You feel you have enough points to win. The main thing now is just make sure East Carolina gets through more.
Williams, first down, up to the 38-yard line as we check in with Chris Fowler.
The AT&T Player of the Week is Houston quarterback Case Keenum. 44 of 54, 559 yards and 5 touchdowns, dismantling Greg James' SMU Ponies. You can take part on your wireless phone. Just text VOTE to 345-345. You can also win a chance to get a trip to the national championship.
All right, Chris. Case Keenum's put up some unbelievable numbers for the Cougars this year, and it might very well be the team that a long way to go in Conference USA that East Carolina faces in the championship game. Pirates lead the East Division. Houston sitting on top in the West right now. as it looks as if now the East Carolina defense starting to get a little winded. Second straight time on first down that Ryan Williams has picked up 9.
And he's picking up in huge chunks, Coach.
Well, you can see that the East Carolina players, they've been on the field. I mean, after all, Virginia Tech's had the ball 30 minutes to only 22 for East Carolina. But let's give credit to Virginia Tech offense.
Again, keeping it on the ground and
Ryan Williams on the
getting the first down as Williams gets up to midfield. And when we started the telecast, we talked about how Ryan Williams would answer the bell after last week, and he has been a workhorse.
And I am very impressed. Yards after contact. He won't let that first man bring him down, Coach. He always finishes the run.
Boy, he's got a great future. I tell you, that mom's some coach. I tell you, I am impressed.
Sharon Johnson cheering her son on. We'll see. Williams is yet to find the end zone. You take a look at the rush chart, but he's picked up some serious yardage to the right.
Very, very much so. And most of the yardage up inside have been off trap plays. 7 carries for 49 yards.
Ryan Williams told us earlier this week that this is his first year playing, and he said he really felt like the Boston College game after he got a few games under his belt. He really started understanding how to read his blocks, understanding the pace and tempo that he needed to run with to exploit the holes. Most beneficial way. Williams getting arrested. Josh Oglesby gets the football. Oglesby's going to be stopped in the backfield. Wendell Joseph. There's a flag down on the play.
Also one on the play. Wendell Joseph on the stop. Second down and 11.
Personal foul, a chop block by number 77 of the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty, and it's still first down.
So Ed Wayne's got the rare daily double of penalties with the leg whip and the chop block. And just to fill a chop block is when one defender is already engaged with another defender high and another one hits him low. Marcus, you have a look at what they called on Wayne.
That didn't look like a chop block to me.
I think they missed one there. First and 25. Again, chop block different from a cut block, which is a low block. Oglesby had it pulled out of his belly by Taylor. Taylor kept it, but Emmanuel Davis has had an outstanding game for Greg Hudson's defense.
And what Virginia Tech's doing now, and Tyrod Taylor's just doing an excellent job of using the clock now. We'll let the clock run all the way down to 4 seconds before he snapped the ball.
Smart game management by a quarterback that's really grown up in the last year. And I like the progression he's made, particularly over the last year. He is the leader of this Virginia Tech football team.
No doubt. And one of the more successful quarterbacks is Michael Vick.
He's a winner.
Second and 20. Facing Taylor, Williams has returned to the backfield. Williams has it. Get up across the 40, maybe to about the 43-yard line. It'll bring up third down. 17.
For Virginia Tech, if they can finish this game off with a victory, looking at their schedule down the road, they're going to have a pretty good opportunity to finish with 10 wins again for the 6th consecutive year if they take care of business.
If they win the bowl game, and it depends who they'll play. But looking at their schedule, they should win going away. They're a very good football team. I think East Carolina's played them very well tonight. It's just that Virginia Tech's defense and the quarterback have been outstanding, along with Ryan Williams.
Clock winding down toward 4 minutes. Williams has it. Williams in East Carolina territory. Williams breaking a tackle. He's going to come up just a little short of the first down. Greg Boone got the outstanding block.
I'll tell you what, Reese, you're absolutely right. You can't say that he's a Walter Payton running back, but he is a Walter Payton type S because the way that he runs the football with that number, the way that he punishes defenders, he really likes to deliver the hit to the defender.
He has a career-high 179 yards tonight.
Let's remember, he's only a freshman. It's amazing the comeback. He started as a freshman in high school. And his first game, I think the first half, he had 5 carries for 7 yards. The second half, he had 17 carries for 200 yards, and you could see why.
He's had a sensational game tonight. Has not found the end zone. Hokies only have one touchdown, but it's been enough thanks to a stellar defensive effort. College football weekend highlighted on ABC by Ohio State and Penn State. Some will get regional games. Darrell Clark and the Nittany Lions getting set to take on Terrell Pryor and the Buckeyes. Winner keeps its Big Ten title hopes alive. Iowa setting the pace in the Big Ten. Action starts at 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC, 12:30 on the West Coast. College football presented by Kay Jewelers. A couple of talented quarterbacks, one a little farther along in his development than the other. Darrell Clark. If Darrell Clark, in a year in which the Heisman Trophy is sort of an open type of race, Clark, didn't perform great against Iowa. If he's going to inject himself into the discussion, he needs a win and he needs a big game against the Buckeyes Saturday.
He definitely does. And the way that they've played over the last few weeks after the Iowa loss, I've been very impressed on both sides of the ball. But not only Darrell Clark, I love Penn State's defense, the #1 scoring defense in the nation. They're giving up just over 9 points a game.
I think it's going to be a great game.
Bowden punts it away. Simmons going to take a chance and field it inside his 10. Nearly a block in the back, and there's a flag coming late as the stop is made by Alonzo Tweedy. So this is about the juncture in the game as we listen to the call.
An illegal block in the back by number 57 of the receiving team. The penalty's half the distance to the goal, and it's first down.
I thought that Lamar McClendon had gotten away with the block initially. Flag came from the other side of the field. And he did not. And East Carolina's got a long way to go. I was about to say this is just about the juncture in the game last year when East Carolina was trailing by 9 points and they went in for the touchdown to make it a one-score game. The difference was at that time East Carolina was inside the 5 on the other end of the field going in instead of inside their own 5 now.
Now they aren't going to blitz and they're going to play zone. They're going to drop off.
Pinckney finally connects with Harris. Those two have had trouble getting together tonight, and Harris fights his way out of bounds and up near the 20-yard line. And the clock is as much an enemy as the score right now.
There's no doubt. But, Mark, if you give East Carolina time to throw in the receivers, the ability to run the routes rather than against a tight man coverage, they can be more successful.
And clock winding, still outside 2 minutes. We head toward the 3-minute mark remaining. Pinckney got to get busy. Pinckney going up top, firing to the outside, and Alex Taylor appeared to be a little late adjusting to that throw.
We've got to step up and make plays, and there's got to be a sense of urgency for this entire East Carolina football team. And this is a ball I think is catchable. He can turn and face this ball right here. He's got to make a better play than that. Their quarterback's doing a good job. The offensive line is protecting the quarterback, giving him a chance to throw the ball vertically.
2nd and 10 for Pinckney. Deep from the backside, Pinckney is drilled, and there is Cody Grimm again.
Cody Grimm has had one heck of a game. He's been all over the place, making plays, making tackles. Here he gets the sack. I played a long time with his father, 4 years in college, 10 years in the NFL, and I can tell you one thing, he gets his athleticism from his mother, Karen.
Grimm has 11 tackles, a sack. He forced a fumble and recovered it tonight. He has been absolutely sensational for Bud Foster's defense. Now 3rd and 13. Pinckney throws it short to Lindsey, and that ball might have been intercepted, and it was. Rock Carmichael catches a deflection, and that might be all she wrote for the Pirates.
It was a pass that should have been caught, but it came with the blitz.
And like I said, there has to be a sense of urgency for East Carolina. There wasn't. The ball is there. It should have been caught. It goes off his chest, off his hands. Johnny on the spot's Carmichael right there for the pick.
For Carmichael, that is his 5th interception of the season. He was in the top 10 in the country coming in. He'll take the deflection, set up the Hokies at the 13-yard line of East Carolina.
You know, he has great speed. He runs a 4.2. His dad died this summer at age 40. He was very close to his father, dedicated this season to his father.
Oglesby is in at running back for Williams, and Oglesby a short gain on the right side to keep the clock running. Let's take a look at our Enterprise Rent-A-Car Drive recap, and thus far there's only been one touchdown drive on the night, and it belonged to Virginia Tech in the first half. Ryan Williams bursting through the middle is a lot of business done on the ground. A fine catch by Danny Cole. And then Tyrod Taylor finishing it off, Mayday.
And look at the way he protects the ball going across the end zone. He's going into the end zone across the goal line. I know you love that when backs and quarterbacks are down by the goal line. They reach the ball out there to try to get it across.
You know, Mark and I have been working in the studio, I believe, for over 9 years. He knows my little idiosyncrasies now. Or idiocies, some might say. Oglesby stretching for the outside. He's run out of bounds. Levin Neal, senior from Wilmington, North Carolina State transfer. Running Oglesby out of bounds and inside 2 minutes to go in the game. And at 26 to go. Virginia Tech is trying to run out the clock. Come out of Greenville with a victory to stop their two-game mini slide after losing to Georgia Tech on the road and last Thursday night falling in a heartbreaker to North Carolina when the Tar Heels won their first ACC game.
I think a major difference for Virginia Tech in this game, they've done a much better job of stopping the run in this game.
It's been a problem spot throughout the year. Taylor not going to chance it with the interception. He's running toward the sideline. He is tripped up by Dustin Lineback. East Carolina is going to call a timeout, stop it with 1:18 to go. That's a solid play because they hold Tech to a field goal, really not a lot of difference. They still need it twice, probably not enough time to do it. Need a quick touchdown and an onside kick if they're going to give them a finish in this one tonight. On Friday night, we'll see if Louisiana Tech can give number 7 Boise State a finish. 8 o'clock Eastern time, they'll kick off as Chris Peterson and the Broncos try to remain undefeated. One of 7 teams with perfect records so far. Boise's absolutely dominated the WAC in recent years. We'll see if they can win in Ruston on a Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. You can log on to ESPN.com for more information. Here are the teams who remain perfect, a lot of them for this late in the season.
I don't ever remember there being this many undefeated teams this late, Mark.
Well, I think Kirk Ferentz is a magician at Iowa because when you've got an offense that's 74th in total yards offensively, 43rd passing, 88th rushing, and 66 scoring, and your quarterback has thrown 13 interceptions and you're starting a freshman running back, and you're undefeated, how do you do that?
I'd check the scoreboard again. You wonder how they won.
That is Matt Waldron going for his 3rd field goal of the night. He puts it up right down the gut. Virginia Tech stretches its lead. 2 touchdowns now, 16-3 over East Carolina. Pirates have 2 timeouts remaining. Not much offense, virtually no offense in the second half, but they need a desperation drive. They need a miracle right now. And really the Virginia Tech defense has controlled play, particularly in the second half.
Well, what they've done is they've blitzed all the time. They put more people rushing the passer than you can protect. And consequently, they've been able to play man coverage. They've been able to get away with it. Had they only been ahead by 3 points, I don't think they would have done that, Mark.
And not only that, offensively, they were able to dominate and control the line of scrimmage. Whenever you can run the ball for over 200 yards, and you've got a powerful back like Ryan Williams getting the job done, I thought that was huge for this offense for Virginia Tech to respond off their loss last week against North Carolina.
You know, highly unlikely that Virginia Tech will get back in the mix for the ACC championship game. This is the program since joining the conference. They've won the league 3 times in 5 years. A lot of pride, though, to still try to get to that 10-win plateau. And sometimes you see when kids have their major goals taken away from them, they don't respond favorably. I think Virginia Tech has responded well, and you see what the rest of their schedule looks like. Very, very good opportunity to finish the regular season with 9 wins and then go into a bowl.
They got some impressive wins there. You looked at 31-7 over Miami. Sure. I mean, that was impressive.
No doubt about it. Hurricanes were undefeated at the time, and Hokies completely dominated that affair on a rainy Saturday afternoon in Blacksburg. Georgia Tech has had a tremendous year. They have 2 games left against Wake Forest and a potential showdown for the division lead with Duke coming up the week after if the Blue Devils can get past North Carolina on Saturday. Norman Whitley returns the kick. Who would have thought that you would say that there is a potential showdown for a title of some kind between Georgia Tech and Duke, and it's not being played in Cameron Indoor Stadium or the Thriller Dome? David Cutcliffe's done a terrific job.
He's done a spectacular job. He was the head coach of Ole Miss at one point. He did a great job there. Now he got another opportunity to be a head coach at Duke, and he's done a nice job of recruiting and putting this team in position to win ball games and get to a bowl game.
I think it's a prime example where coaching does make the difference. You can take an individual like Cutcliffe, put him there. He has made a complete difference. You find it so many other places.
Josh Jordan, the freshman, in at quarterback, holding onto the ball, and the closest guy to it was Chris Drager, and you know who was back there in Jordan's face. It was Cody Grimm. Again, by the way, the Duke-Carolina game that we were talking about coming up this weekend, Todd Harris is going to make the drive over to the Research Triangle area and call the rivalry game between the Blue Devils and Tar Heels. One minute to go. East Carolina giving their freshman quarterback some experience. It was a rough night for Patrick Pinckney. Jordan, the freshman, fires incomplete, looking for Dwayne Harris. It is time for our Wrangler 5-star player of the game, and Ryan Williams with a career night. Certainly got some competition from Cody Grimm, who had a great night on defense, but Williams turned in a sensational performance.
Particularly the way he responded off losing that fumble against North Carolina in their last game, and the way that he came back this week and put up a huge game for Virginia Tech running the football, career high 179 yards on the ground.
And what was really impressive was the fact that the football team really and truly came to his aid, defended him. You didn't lose a game. That means so much to a young player when your teammates stay with you.
And think about this. That's a career high. He's a freshman. Give him a few more opportunities. He'll probably go for more yards before the season's out.
You know,
then next year and the following year and the following year, he's going to have opportunities.
And no question about it. East Carolina held him to 3 yards in the first quarter, but since then, he's turned in 176 yards as we're inside 25 seconds, and Josh Jordan, the freshman, going to get off a 4th down play for the Pirates.
I wonder how many of those 179 yards were after contact.
Seemed like well over half of them. Brandon Jackson with the carry and what will be short of the 1st down. The Hokie offense walking back onto the field is a mere formality. Virginia Tech is going to win for the 6th time this year and avenge the upset loss at the hands of the Pirates last year. As Tyrod Taylor walks out onto the field, they'll snap it. Coach's favorite play in football, the victory formation play.
I used to love that play.
You try to get one more hit in on some guy.
You know what? As an offensive lineman, you get a plus for this play.
Help with the grade, and it helps with the record. And Frank Beamer has career win number 225. Ryan Williams, 179 yards on the ground as Beamer and Skip Holtz exchange congratulations on a hard-fought game here in Greenville tonight. All right, let's check in now. Todd, I believe, has corralled Ryan Williams, something the Pirates couldn't do tonight, Todd.
Absolutely, Reese. 26 carries, 179 yards. That's a 6.8-yard average. What was the difference tonight for you?
There was really no difference. I come out every game with the same mentality, and that's to run as hard as I can and give everything I got in the field. And, you know, trying to bounce back from that incident that happened last week, it was tough. But, you know, throughout the week, I kind of started getting back in the groove with things, and I kind of came to terms with what happened. So I just left that behind and came out here and played my game today.
We talked to your mom. She certainly said she coached you up. What was going through your mind when you had that first carry in the first quarter?
Just to go out here and give it all I got, you know, just to forget about everything in the past and just play my game. Don't worry about anything else, and I got to come out here and help the team win. And I felt like I did that today, and, you know, I made big plays, and I was a great decoy with all the play action, and it just felt good. It felt good to get a win again.
Congratulations, Ryan. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And here is Sharon Johnson, the proud mother, who, along with Frank Beamer and the entire Hokie family, handled Williams beautifully after the disappointment against North Carolina. He showed why he is not only one of the top freshman backs in America, but one of the top backs, period. Virginia Tech beats East Carolina 16-3. Sports Center is coming up next. John Anderson and Scott Van Pelt are standing by. Over on ESPN News, we'll have our post-game extra. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Mark May, Lou Holtz, Todd Harris, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Reese Davis saying good night from Greenville.